Stables.
Yeah, I'm looking for a horseman.
A horseman?
A horseman goes by the name of Rick.
Not here.
Are you a horseman?
I could be. What can I do for you?
Friday night, you can see me at War Games. Bring all your horsemen, because I will have Moondog Spot, Moondog Rex, and the Monkey Brothers. Yeah, I'm looking for a horseman goes by the name of Rick Flair.
Don't know him.
Can I leave a message?
I guess.
All right, write this down. Tell him it's Big Dust.
Okay.
The American Dream.
Okay.
Tell him to meet me Friday night, Starcade.
Meet you at the Stockades.
Yeah, Starcade, Friday night.
I don't know what you're wasting your time for.
Is this Baby Doll? Baby Doll, I know that was you Jezebel! Hello, I'm looking for some horsemen.
I've got plenty. How many you need?
4.
4 horsemen.
Yes, sir. This is Big Dust calling on behalf of Crocker Promotions.
Can't hardly understand what you're saying, but...
Sorry, I got a little bit of a lisp. What about Chris Benoit? Oh, he did. Sorry.
No, I don't really know what you're talking about.
Is this J.J. Dillon's?
No.
Don't lie to me, J.J.'s. You and I go way back, Jack.
Well, it ain't JJ. You got the wrong person.
Don't mess with the American dream, J.J. My eyes are open as big as silver dollars, Jack.
Well, you got the wrong guy.
You and I, J.J., leather strap match. Dustin Rhodes is the master of the strap match. J.J. Dillon, you a yellow dog.
It's the lisp. It's the lisp that sells it on that one. So, what is up, everybody? We are back again for another Toss One Back Thursday, and why not start it off with a laugh? So, hadn't played that one in a while, so I figured I'd throw that up there and welcome people in. So,
welcome back to the real world to you.
Exactly, right? A couple weeks away. I was back on vacation last week. Now I'm back and everything. So, good to be back in the studio, so to speak. And got some good beer news stuff to talk about this week. I bet you already know one of them. Yeah, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it. But great to see you again, Todd, my man, and happy Thursday to you. And
same to you. Same to
you. Can't believe we're like mid-April. It just seemed like last week it was like getting into January, right?
I know. It's already flying by.
Yeah.
In a couple weeks, it's gonna be Derby time already. Then it's just like all downhill from there.
Yeah.
Like right in the middle of summer and it gets hot, gets whatever. It's like,
Speaking of Derby, it's kind of funny just because, where I lived at and you came up there, we're within like an hour and a half of Lexington or whatever, because, we get the Derby and stuff. Then I moved to Baltimore and I'm driving the other day, a few weeks ago, and I'm like, I feel like I should know this area. I'm driving on Preakness Drive.
Right.
Like I can't get away from the horses at all. They're everywhere.
From one leg of the Triple Crown to the other leg.
Yeah, if I move to New York next time, I'll really hit the crown there, Triple Crown.
You go. Yeah, you'll be the Triple Crown winner.
I'm just looking around like this kind of looks familiar. I see the horse track and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, never too far from the horses apparently. So welcome to everybody in the house tonight. We're going to throw up do I have the banner? There we go. Bam. And we got Jimmy in the house, Cuff and Stuff. Cheers, my man. Good to see you. Hope you are doing well. Y'all haven't checked out Jimmy. Make sure to check him out. He's always got some good stuff grilling. Got James in the house, JT. It was. Yeah. The sad thing is that, it was sad anyway when Dusty died, but the guy that was doing that, Kid Chris, his crew, they would do the different wrestling ones. And when he died, he really couldn't do it anymore. So, but they had one guy that would do Macho, and they had another guy that would do some of the other ones. And I haven't seen him put any up in a while. I don't know if WWE might have put the smackdown on him. Pardon the pun.
Possibly, yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
Now they do like one from Heaven, Heaven or whatever, where you do all the dead guys.
Oh, I forgot about the Heaven one. I do have that one too. I haven't done that one in a real long time. Yeah. What was that? That was from the PMW, Postmortem Wrestling. That's right.
Oh,
yeah.
Right. Yes. I did. I forgot about that.
The Ultimate Warrior. Yeah, that's the classic one there too. So speaking of wrestling, who was your favorite old time wrestler back in the day?
Oh man. I did like Macho Man.
Yeah.
Macho Man. I was never like a huge Hogan guy. I mean, everybody always liked Hogan, but he was never I don't know. I never leaned towards like the big famous people Because even like Michael Jordan back in the day, like I know he was the greatest, whatever, but
right.
all through school, I was just got tired of hearing about Jordan all the time. I was like, I liked him, but I wasn't a big fan of his, which is dumb to say now because
you like the Brady Bunch, Marshall, Michael.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Man, let's see. On top of that, let's see, man, that's a good question. Probably overall, I'd have to say Macho Man. He was just a nut.
Yeah, I just think when you watch it with like your friends or whatever, or siblings, where it may be, I feel like there was a wrestler that would come out that would get you, pumped up, and you like want to start doing more. I always like Superfly. When Superfly came out, you feel like you want to jump on top of the bedpost on somebody. Yeah. He was one, and then I always was a Ric Flair fan, so I always try to put people in the figure four back in the day.
Yeah,
I did the figure four, and then when Shawn Michaels came out with the sharpshooter, I think. Well, I think it was Shawn Michaels that had that.
That was Bret Hart.
That was Bret Hart with that one. Yeah, you try some stuff there. Yeah, because Shawn had complete chin music. Yeah. So
as far as like tag teams, I always like the British Bulldogs for tag team.
Oh, they ain't talking tag. Well, see, tag teams for me was Road Warriors. They were my favorite when they came out there. Yeah. He did a whole Wood or Rush and get him on his shoulders and he turned around and come on top rope. Yeah. Road Warriors were pretty bad together.
Yeah. They were. Was that Hawk and Animal? Was that them? Was that the Road Warriors?
Yeah, Animal and Hawk. Yeah. And they came out of WCW. We used to watch them on Saturday, and they were kind of like the rough ones out of there. Then they came to WWE. That was like a big thing at that time when they came over.
Oh yeah.
Everybody, they started to come over. They're like, when the Road Warriors coming? When the Road Warriors coming? Right? They finally showed up, started wreaking havoc. Yeah, slap into a Slim Jim. Paul, Undertaker favorite. Undertaker was good as well coming out, and Undertaker was actually kind of funny. So I watched a story on Undertaker on YouTube. I think it was just like last week, and he was doing an interview talking about how he came up with the Undertaker thing. Like he was another wrestler when he first came out, wasn't really packing stuff in or whatever. And somehow he ended up getting a discussion with Vince McMahon calling him, and he's like, "Is this the Undertaker?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's the Undertaker." Like, and he kind of lucked into that name.
I saw that, yeah. And then kind of didn't they say like he presented it to whoever? I don't know if it was McMahon or whoever back then.
Yeah. Well, I think someone came up with it for him from what I saw in the interview, but then I think someone presented to him and they called him, and then he said he was the Undertaker. So I don't know if he presented to somebody and they told Vince McMahon about.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny. Then you look at some of the old stuff like Stone Cold before he was Stone Cold, like he was just Steve Austin and had like the long blonde hair. It's just totally different. Yeah. It's just funny how the wrestlers change.
And then turned into what he turned into, because that was like the complete opposite from what he was. Almost kind of went from like a pretty boy to like just a Stone Cold badass.
Stone Cold, yeah. Those were the days.
Crushing beers.
I figure four a few of my day. Yeah, you put the figure four on some people. The funny thing is when you put it on someone, you didn't know how to get out of it. You're like locked and someone's yelling for their mom or something like I don't know how to get out of it. One's twisting one way, one's twisting the other. So
just like still.
Yeah. I only watched wrestling in the early mid-70s. It was produced out of a gym in Memphis. Those were, the earlier days were back. I guess when wrestling really started was in the 40s maybe or 30s or something, when they showed some of the old footage and stuff where it started to kind of catch on and stuff. But like in the early 80s, I remember like Bob Backlund was like champion. He was just like, it's like he never really had, I mean, he was popular like that. He wasn't like the characters we see nowadays. It was just like this regular kind of guy type thing. So
Memphis wrestling, that was the Jerry the King Lawler come out.
Yeah. Jerry the King.
I didn't come out of there actually. That was the kind of the up and coming come through. All the big dudes come through there, it seemed like. Yeah.
His name was Kane the Undertaker. Bruce Pritchard came up with it. Yeah, because he credited Bruce Pritchard and he credited the guy that did Paul Bearer as well for getting him over to it. But it was just so funny because then later they brought Kane, which was like supposed to be this long lost brother as part of their story or whatever and stuff. So, but people forget it was Kane the Undertaker. Dusty Rose bio was up on YouTube, and Yeah, Dusty was always a fan favorite. Yeah, crossface chicken wing, Bob Backlund. Yeah. I think during that time in the 80s, I got more into Sergeant Slaughter because I would try to put cobra clutches on people. So that was kind of a move I liked too back in the day. Put the cobra clutch on someone. So come here, maggot. You put the cobra clutch on. Oh, the things we did as young boys there. So, got us some beers here. Going to drink some beers. I'm trying to think what I wanted to crack open first. I actually just grabbed a couple cans because I was like, everything in there is kind of like stuff I want to do for reviews for the most part. So I went with a couple. Well, I went with one classic. The other one's not really classic, but the brewery's kind of a star of the craft industry now. But I went ahead and grabbed the Bell's Two Hearted IPA to actually check out here tonight and enjoy. 7% ABV. And of course, Bell's, again, we talked about it before. They've gotten on board with a 19.2 ounce can. So that's what they're using for these, as far as if you want to get some of the singles. And I see more people actually doing that. So I'm going to crack this open right now. Hadn't had an IPA in a while, so I figured, why not tonight?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to pop open too.
An IPA?
An IPA.
Ooh, look at
yeah,
that.
well, I think I told you the other day. I think what was it? They just came to distribution this week or last week, but we started getting Phase 3 Brewing Company out of Illinois.
Oh yeah.
So I stopped and picked a couple of them up today just to give them a whirl and see.
So which are you drinking? A Phase 3 now?
Yeah, this one is the DDH Full Sounds Double Dry Hopped Hazy Double IPA Citra Mosaic and Amarillo. Comes in at 7.7 ABV. And there's the can art for that one.
Nice. Yeah, I've heard good things about them.
Yeah, I have too. So we've got a couple of big breweries that come through in the last couple of weeks. Phase 3. Shit, what I have? I think I just drew a blank. Hoosier Brewing just came in, which I got a couple tonight. A couple sours from them, which stuff I've had from them is really good. They're up near, it's kind of just south of Indy.
Okay.
About probably, I don't know, maybe 20 miles from south of Indianapolis. You know what I get before that? That was the, Weldworks. Weldworks came.
Oh, Weldworks is good too. I have one of their collabs with Other Half, which is pretty solid.
Which I had their sour on here a couple weeks ago, the banana, which that was really tasty too. So I've hit some pretty good ones coming up here in the last couple of weeks.
Nice. JT said even IPA weather has arrived in Chicago. I'm rocking a Dovetail Baltic Porter. It was freaking 80 degrees today. Too soon for me. Well, we were like 87 here.
Yeah, we were. Let's say on my thermostat in my car coming home, it was 85. So.
Yeah.
But it was like 49 this morning. So it goes from still in the 40s in the mornings to the 80s in the afternoon.
Yeah. Speaking of Dovetail, we'll have to see if our buddy Big Daddy makes it in. He actually posted a photo. He was actually at Dovetail today, JT, having a beer. So he posted that I think he posted on Twitter. So it looked like a nice day to be out there enjoying it from what he shared there. I was thinking about walking over to a brewery earlier today to see what they had to bring on the show, and I was like, got outside. I was like, it's a little warmer than I thought it was going to be. So I'll walk this way. I go this way, you go that way, just like rush hour. It's like I'm not going to walk about a mile in that heat right now. Mile up, mile back.
And then I think we're supposed to get low again next week, I believe. Well, now they're calling. Well, Sunday is only supposed to be high of 60, and then low to mid 60s the start of next week. So
there you go.
It's supposed to be 74 tomorrow and 80 on Saturday, I guess, somewhere in there anyway.
I'll take the heat over the cold. I mean, not too hot over the cold. I mean, I like to keep it between like 50 and 80. I'm happy. I'm okay.
Yeah. I don't like to.
I don't want the extreme heat.
That's definitely a double-edged sword because I don't like it super cold either because it's like too cold to do anything. But I don't like it too hot either because it's too damn hot to do anything. But I'd take the hot over the cold.
People in San Diego are like, I don't know what y'all talking about because we're always 75, right? Although this year they may have had some weird weather with the stuff they had out there.
I don't think everybody's had weird weather this year.
Yeah.
Of course, last year when you were in Florida, or last week when you were in Florida, when you messaged me, we were getting tornadoes and all kinds of shit around here,
which is really uncommon for this time of the year there.
I feel like everything's just shifted to our area now.
Well, I don't know if you saw or not, but the new layout of the map, they had the tornado alley pretty much shift east now.
Yeah.
So when they showed the new alley now, it's just kind of just west of where you're kind of at. So you're still kind of on the outskirts of it, but it's definitely shifting in that direction.
Sure.
For what they're showing there. So, of course, no one's been able to predict Mother Nature right all these years. So maybe they'll go back or something too. You never know.
Yeah, so I guess it was last week. I was pretty much driving straight through. I could hear the sirens all the way home.
Yeah.
So I was talking to my mom on the way home. I usually always call her on my ride home on Wednesdays just to say hey to her and stuff. And then she was like, well, don't call me if you're. I was like, I'm already in the middle. I couldn't even hardly see driving home and all the people.
Oh, yeah. That's the day I told you to look out, be careful or whatever. Like,
yeah.
And
I was like, well, I'm already drove in it now. And then by the time I got like 10 miles down the road, I was already out of it. So I was like, it come super fast through.
Yeah.
But man, it went from a decent looking day to pitch black almost. At, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I was like, this ain't good.
Yeah, this morning I got up, started working, flipped on the TV. I don't know if you saw or not, but Fort Lauderdale, their airport was flooded. It was just closed until 5 a.m. in the morning. Like out where their planes on, kind of the rivers overran from weather and stuff down there. Like I've never seen that happen.
Did they get is that where I just saw something just before we went live. Maybe it was in Florida. Somebody got 24 inches of rain in like a 24-hour period. Is that where that was? I might
have been. I mean, they're just right north of Miami down there. But I was like, I used to fly in that airport all the time back like in 2009, 2010, and it's got flooded. Like it was crazy. There's like cars that were stuck all over the place, like emergency trucks, everything. So what is up, Vanessa? Cheers, my friend. Good to see you. Yeah, she was 87 today as well. They're supposed to get 95 plus tomorrow, which is crazy, like up in Connecticut. So, I would expect that down in Texas a little bit more. Texas has been having some weird stuff too.
Yeah, we would think like in the Northeast would be, still mild weather.
Yeah. All I know is I had another year without any snow, and I'm okay with that. Just saying.
We got one day maybe, and then it was gone the next day. So that's the kind of snow I like.
Seen a couple flurries. That's about it.
What's up, Double D?
What up? PD in the house. JT saying hello to everyone as well. So yeah. Now that I've actually, as I was telling Todd earlier, got my taxes done, I can actually put some more time in doing some other stuff here on the channel and bringing up some other things. After coming back, that was kind of the last thing I needed to really get out the way. And need to hit some of the breweries, need to get some of the beer stories, all that kind of stuff again. It's funny, I just did a clip of that Coors Light versus Miller Lite video I did. It's like got almost 1,000 views on it, like in a day. I'm like a 15-second clip, just like clipped a part of it out. It was like, I was like, that's interesting. So
doesn't it seem like those old school, or just the macros always usually do better anyway? It seems
the macros can depending on which one it kind of is right now. But the funny thing, and because that's funny, JV's in the comments. I was talking to JV. I was like, let me try something here because I've done other stuff with it before, but it was just like it was crazy. I just think it was just like time. And now, funny thing is, I had to wait for it to clear first because it had to run through all their copyright stuff, which is kind of a pain in the butt now. But yeah. JV says, cheers, guys. It's too soon for curtain jokes. Hope you guys are doing well. Never too soon for curtain jokes.
Never too soon for the curtain joke.
And I think next week, because I didn't have time again with this week with everything, next week I'm going to bring back a trivia. We'll do trivia next Thursday for the trivia match. So those that want to put up their beer knowledge and play to win a gift, I'll get that set up for next week. Vanessa, and hey, Vanessa as well. Dude, that's the most perfect green screen possible. Todd is an engineering genius. There you go.
I am a genius.
He's a genius right there.
Yeah.
That boy's a genius. So that being said, I guess we'll jump over to some of the beer news. I was waiting to see if our third correspondent would be here, but I know something came up on her end. But let's go ahead and make that jump. So it was nothing really possibly happened this week in the beer world, right? Nothing
major anyway.
Like that. Like, all right, it's biggest story of the week, so you got to jump into it. Bud Light has the beer world talking, taking sides, supposedly swearing off the beer due to their teaming up with Dylan Mulvaney. First thing I'm going to note is I didn't even know who Dylan Mulvaney is, so I know more about Dylan Mulvaney now because of everybody like losing their damn minds out there. But the whole thing is just, to me, kind of crazy. Like the whole thing, like they're basically getting upset. And the whole Kid Rock video, like Kid Rock's been relevant since like 1992. I don't even know. Like, what are you out there shoot up your cans? I mean, you paid for it, so you already gave the money to Bud anyway.
I know. Like, yeah, what's like.
And then I see like
that didn't make no sense.
Now I see country singers are like, oh, we're not going to sponsor. It's like the whole thing is like, so basically you're going to lose batshit crazy over Bud Light doing something to try to show inclusion for a group or whatever. It's like, and people have their right to protest and not want to do something, of course. I mean, I don't drink Founders because of some of the racist management they had. So, everybody has their reasons for stuff. But it's kind of like, I think you can take it overboard on some of the things. Like, it's just become so overly dramatic that now we have the musicians that are saying what they're doing. And it's funny just because what I'll say is, so if you're not going to drink that, what are you going to drink? Because, there's a bunch of other beer companies I guess you'll have to cut off too, right? That you won't be able to really sit there and enjoy. So you're not going to go to Corona, right? Because Corona, you're not going to go to Guinness because Guinness, they did what they did. Miller Lite? Nope, can't go Miller Lite. How about Coors Light? Can't do Mick Ultra? No. Heineken? No. And that's just a few of them that are just noted out there right now that are some of your major things. And I think of the people that usually drink Bud Light are same people that kind of usually drink Miller Lite, that kind of drink Coors Light. They're all in the same group of the people. And that right. So what are you going to do? You're going to go Modelo or whatever? What are you going to do? How are you going to switch off of it? So it's kind of like
switch to liquor, I guess. Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, I guess Mad Dog can use them to start buying their stuff. I don't know. I don't know where you're going to go at with this type of thing. It's just kind of crazy to see people going as overboard as they actually are right now. Now, Bud has actually taken a hit. Amy and Bev, they are actually down like $6 billion on their market cap in the last couple of days or whatever. They're a large company, though. They can earn stuff back and everything. But it's kind of like, it's just a weird type thing to kind of see that you're basically trying to penalize a company that's just trying to include others. And when is it a point where it's just like, I think back to just the stupid stuff people do with athletes, like burning jerseys and stuff like that. And it's
that's what I was going to say. It's like, especially in the Bud Light stuff, last week I saw a bunch of TikToks of just dudes like emptying their beer fridge or whatever. I'm like, didn't you already pay for those before any of that even come out? So why? They already got your money. They don't give a shit if you pour it out now or not. They already got your money off of that. So why don't you just drink it? You already paid for it.
You're going out there, you bought it, and now you're just going to go destroy it or whatever, and you're going to go spend somewhere else. But the funny thing is, let me get to this next part, right? So that leads into this other thing. So now we got a guy out there, and this guy used to run one of the Trump teams or whatever, something like that, I think. But no, that's the wrong one. We got a guy that's actually trying to blast him and basically starting the conservative right-wing beer, he said, to avoid market perversion to little children as an anti-woke type beer. And it's like, first of all, who the hell is marketing beer to children that you even think like it's good? Like, why is your children looking at beer cans in the first place? And the whole thing about the whole anti-woke, I see people say that. Like, I don't even think people even understand what it means to be aware of others, which is the whole woke thing. And maybe the background or differences you have with them, just to have that into account. Because the opposite of woke is just ignorance. And who wants to walk around in just plain ignorance? I mean, ignorance is not bliss now, it's willful. And it's just like, if you want to do that, you can do that. But at the same point, it's just like, I don't know what to do with you. Because I bet you for these people that are saying they're going to boycott Bud Light or Anheuser-Busch, they don't even know all the companies they own out there. Busch owns so many beer brands. They're like, oh, I'm not going to drink that. I'm going to go over and drink this. They'll go grab Goose Island. You know Anheuser-Busch owns Goose Island, right? They'll go drink this. You know Anheuser-Busch owns this. You know Anheuser-Busch owns that. And it's just like, you don't even know. That's the whole.
It's kind of like what you. Yeah, it's kind of like what you said. Is like, what are you going to drink now? It's like everybody, Busch owns, Anheuser owns a bazillion companies that, like you said, most people probably don't even know that they're even ownership of them.
Right.
So it's like,
and then
we got that all together. I guess you're just not going to drink anything then.
And then another funny thing that brought up, somebody had put out there, I see a lot of people that drink Bud Lights at all these bars. They drive a lot of Ford trucks. Ford had a campaign too. So you're not going to drive Fords anymore? I'm like, it's like, where do you draw the line, right? And it's just like, that's ignorance. That's the whole anti-woke, I guess. They just don't know. They don't know. They just don't know. And it's hilarious to actually watch them go through it. So knock yourselves out. Good luck with it. But if you're listening to Kid Rock and Marjorie Taylor Greene as your leaders in the front, I don't know where you're going to end up at. I'm just saying.
So I know like Travis Tritt on the country.
Yeah, Travis Tritt was another one, which is funny.
I didn't really see what he was saying or what was going. Was he just boycotting that too altogether?
He was boycotting. It's funny because someone showed him he was boycotting Bud Light as one of his sponsors. But then they also said the Travis Tritt concert. They showed him on one of his jackets, like, you might be in drag. You might be with that jacket you're wearing. just going to throw that out there. So it's just like,
yeah, you might. And you just don't know it. We're just trying to help you get over the edge. That's all we're doing.
Again, it's just not all the layers seem to connect. Not everything seems to click. It's just whatever is taking place. But
it's just one of those things where people aren't happy unless they have something to bitch about, or unless they're bitching about something. It's like this.
I feel like the other countries look at America like, I don't even know what they're doing over there anymore. Like, it's like we're behind a wall when Frank is waiting for the meatloaf and Old School, and we don't know what his mom is doing back there. That's America. She's back there trying to straighten America out. That's why we don't see her come out.
Ma.
I don't know what's going on being back here. Right. We are the meatloaf. So that is one thing there. Let me take a look here. Comment. Oh, JV said for the genius thing, Todd greater than Einstein.
Thank you, JV. At least finally somebody's figured it out.
Emerson in the house. Cheers, my friend. I'm enjoying the Imperial pint of Lagunitas. A little something in my chilled Rod J. BeerVentures mug. Living the good life. Very nice. Yeah, so he ended up winning the Stein there, and glad you're enjoying it. And speaking of Lagunitas, for those that you don't know, if you haven't looked for it yet, Waldo's his out for this year. So it's a triple IPA. I think it's like 13.7 or something, I believe. So yeah, they can get into 4. I know it's 4 or 6 this year. I can't remember offhand.
Yeah, it used to always be in 6-packs, I think, but I don't know what it is.
I saw some pictures of 4-packs. That's why I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen it yet this year, but I've seen advertisements for it.
Yeah. Well, you got a Total Wine near you. I know I looked and I didn't go to the one I have here, but I know they usually get it. And I did see some of the Total Wines south of me or west of me actually had it out there too. So
okay.
So you might be able to find it there. And well, you got your one guy that's buying a new shop. He hasn't opened that new shop yet, right? Like that was the old owner.
No. Yes, but no. And come to find out, it was so stupid. I didn't realize it was. When he put that on there, it was an April Fool's.
Oh, he got you.
I was so mad after he figured out that's what it was. I was like, I'm so dumb. I'm totally for that. I wasn't the only one, though. Everybody else was always there. Everybody else was like, oh, they're all stoked about it, too. And I was like, you do know what day it is, right? I was like, oh, shit. I was like, I totally filled it.
He got you with the old, got him.
He's done that in the past too. When he was the owners of it, he was like, "Oh, I sold to Walmart or whatever." They come across and they wanted to buy get the craft beer market and stuff. He's done those for years. And I should have known when I saw that. I should have known.
Yeah. right-wing bigotry, period. Every macro brewer advertised it. Yeah, I mean, it's all the community. And the thing about beer is an inclusive beverage in itself. I mean, people have beers that have discussions and debates, whatever it may be. It's like to draw people in. It's an easy one to actually do that. I just think like beer, I've always said, like the ultimate elixir to actually grab one and sit down with someone and have a great conversation. So obviously it's going to be part of all the different communities. Got Angie in the house. Cheers, Angie. Good to see you, my friend.
I just don't get that part of it. Like you mentioned founders, but to me that's a whole different. That's a whole.
Well, you have founders that were
a whole different genre of things going on there than what Anheuser-Busch was doing with the Busch Light. In my opinion.
I mean, you look at founders. Founders was more exclusivity. They were basically trying to exclude out a class of people, versus Bud Light trying to include everybody into having.
That's what I'm saying. That's a whole different avenue, which it makes sense of why you would want to boycott, or anybody in general. Like, I don't really drink. I haven't bought Founders since probably all that's went down, but like you said, I've got Founders that I've had downstairs in my basement that I bought pre all that, so I've already paid for it. Why not drink it? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going out giving them money. Like the Busch Light thing, like all those people are already dumping it. I'm like, you already paid for it. Why are you throwing it? Send it my way. I'll drink it. I don't care if you want to get rid of it.
I don't have the video of it. I should have tried to find it before the show. So I saw a video of one guy who was dumping all his Jack Daniel's stuff because he was complaining they went too woke. So he was like, "Oh, this is my Jack Daniel's wood inside. I've had this since blah blah blah. Not anymore. Throw it in the trash, glassware, all this kind of stuff." And I'm just watching it, cracking up, and I'm like, "Wait till he finds out the formula came from a slave that made Jack Daniel's." His mind is really going to be blown.
Yeah, right there. Yeah.
But it's just funny, like just watching people just like break down on these things, and it's like seriously, like, you know, again, you don't have to like everything out there, but it's just like it's funny watching and just seeing how people can kind of act. Now, sometimes I wonder if it's just like for an attention grab, you know what I mean? Just trying to do something like that. In the world of social media we live in now, like people are doing it just to be like an attention grabber.
I think some, yes, but I also believe there's still some that are just like, I don't know if you want to say stupid, naive, whatever, like throwing your shit away after you already paid for it, whatever. You know, yeah. I don't know. I just don't get some of that stuff. I just don't. I don't know. Maybe I'm too open-minded about things.
Because you're woke, Todd. You're woke. That's why.
Yeah, maybe.
That's what happens. Hey, we got RS in the house. Cheers, my friend. He likes the beer, not the can. That's your call there. That's fine, you know. I mean, I don't know where your daughter is because she was supposed to be joining us here too, but she may have got called into work actually, because I know that can happen sometimes. I mean, we're not trying to craft beer. Those folks are super woke, right? Well, no, that's the thing, right? So you look at the craft beer community, they've got all kinds of stuff where they've teamed up with different groups and stuff like that and everything. So it wouldn't go over really for those that enjoy craft beer as much as it would maybe for some of the macro types. It's a totally different situation in my mind. Not everybody in craft beer may be on board with it, but it's not like I don't think you'll see anybody going crazy with doing stuff like that. It is more.
Plus, there's so many varieties of companies out there that you're just like, okay, well, I'm not going to buy their stuff just because of X, Y, Z, whatever. So I'll just buy theirs until they come out and do something. If they don't like, then they'll buy something else. I mean, there's always going to be something that one individual is never going to like, period. Not
to mention the economics of craft beer versus macro beer. You're paying a little bit more. Maybe mad, but I'm not going to throw it away, right? Let me just get rid of it.
Right.
This is so a transgender spokesperson makes others lose their shit. There's like spokesperson. Yeah, right. So it's just like, they're all losing their shit over because of the spokesperson they chose. The team Bud Light chose to team up with their. I don't know. We're also in a society where people lost their shit over the M&Ms, right? That whole M&M debacle type thing. And it's like, you're talking about an imaginary piece of candy and you're upset about that? Again, other countries probably look at America like, I don't know what their problem is. It's like, we look at like I'm looking at France right now, and they're rioting over there because they got to retire at 64 instead of 62. I feel like 64, we got to go to 67 at least right now. It might be 69 by the time I'm done. Yeah, I'm like, so I guess it's all where you're at, where you see crazy stuff. Like, oh, there's Angie Emerson. Let's see here. Perhaps learn self-control. Well, I don't know if they can. I don't know if they can. It's crazy because it kind of fits that market, whatever profile, that segment, because they're all like in the same type of segment. Like you keep seeing, like you're seeing these singers, they're all country singers that are actually doing it. There was even a bar over in Florence, Kentucky, Todd. There was a quote on the thing where they didn't take offense to it, but they stopped selling bud because nobody was buying it and everything. Like some bars are sitting on cases of bud right now. Hey, bud does not age like craft beer, so you got to make a decision on that. Yeah. So it's kind of like
I also wonder the after effects also of like the people that are like, I'm just gonna go support it because of whatever.
Oh, there are people that are doing that now. They're going out and buying it because of the support. Yeah.
Well, Shannon being as Shannon does, or as she is, she's like, she drink. We usually get Miller Lite and ham. She's like, and we drink Bud Light. We've drank Bud Light too for years before that even. She's like, I'm gonna go back to Bud Light just because I want to, to support them or whatever. I'm like, that's fine. You can do it. You can get it. I'll get that for you instead. Not a lot of difference from one to the other anyway, but I'm like, hey, So I'm just wondering if on the other side of things, like how much more that's drawn into them than people exiting from them. You know what I mean? Like,
I think there's more exiting than people that are coming in, because
I would think so too.
There's some people like myself. I'm not really drinking Bud Light because I'm not a big Bud Light fan. Right. So it's kind of like there are some, especially like a lot of craft beer drinkers who don't have that taste for Bud Light or whatever, even though they might be more aware and stuff like that and everything. It's not something they may go to. Now, maybe some will start picking up some stuff like that and everything, but I just feel like you'll lose more out of some of the ones that were Bud Light, because it's just looking at the demographics of it. I think that's where their base kind of was. So, but the funny thing is, again, like, where are you going to go? Because all the other beers that are teaming up are also macro, like I said. So somebody's probably like, oh, I got rid of that Bud Light. They got a case of Miller Lite instead. Well, Miller Lite's done their stuff too, like I just showed. So
you're right.
Yeah.
Like you said, so where are you going to turn to? What are you going to do?
Yeah. You're going to go to the store and ask, you got any beers here that aren't teaming up with transgender? Like, what are you going to do? So it's kind of like
you can't, like you said, you can't really go into the craft world because so many of those support that anyway. They just may not show it that way, but you got to dive in deep to figure out, who's who's. It's like, okay, forget that. I'll just go to Seltzers.
If you go in the craft world doing it, you're going to definitely get probably the asshole look, I think. But like I said, unless you do like the one guy I mentioned who's basically trying to start his own thing or whatever, but it's kind of like good luck with that. And I heard that the price of the beer is actually more than Bud Light anyway. So now you're going to try to benefit off it, but charge more people than what they would have paid for Bud Light. So that's not going to last for too long, I think. So when I saw that, I was hoping that was an April Fool's type thing, but it's not. It's actually out there. So I'm not going to put the guy's thing up there because I don't want to give him any more press than I have to, but it's just like, that's just the world that we're in right now. My Fords work quite well to repair. Well, I used to have the Mustang. Ford, fix or repair daily. I mean, you can roll with the Ford, or some people would say found on road dead. I never had that happen to me, but but no, Ford does okay, I think, depending on what you get. I mean, I think all car companies may have something they may not be as great at. I mean, unless maybe Mercedes or something and everything. But even like some of the high-end cars, people say once something goes wrong, it's costly to get it fixed or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
It's a pain in the ass, yeah.
I mean, we've, for the most part, only owned Fords, but also half of my family retired from Ford. So my dad and my aunts, and had some aunt and uncles that worked there. And then her side, her dad didn't work directly for Ford, but he was a truck driver. He drove the piggyback trucks where he delivered to Ford trucks, So he didn't necessarily work for Ford, but he was driving the Ford stuff to the dealership or whatever, for his whole life, basically. So it's like, we got the employee discount or whatever. So I've never really owned anything besides a Ford.
Yeah. It's funny. One of the guys I used to work with, and I used to sell insurance. He was one of the other agents. He ended up getting a deal with the, I think it was a Ford plant over in like Ohio. And he drove a Toyota, but he had to go out and buy like a Ford, like something like a lower end Ford just to drive. Because they're like, don't you drive a Toyota to that parking lot?
Yeah, they still do that. So I got my cousin works there, and what do you have? He didn't have a Ford to begin with, and they're like, they don't even let you in the lot. They have a whole separate lot for non-Ford drivers.
Yeah.
But you have to park in, so you walk like a mile to get to, not necessarily a mile, but a long, good way.
Yeah.
So I think he ended up buying a Ford pickup truck, or F-150 or whatever it was. But he's like, I was going to anyway, but that's just another reason so I could park closer.
Union rules, you can't come in.
Right. But then with them doing that, they ought to give a way more discounts to the people that actually work there, not just like friends of the family or family members or whatever. Like if you actually work there, they should give you
I thought if you worked there, you did get a pretty good deal though.
Well, like my dad would get, and he was, I think he was allotted, I think the rules have changed a little bit now, but I think at the time he was allotted like 2 family members, and they would get like 3% below dealer cost.
Okay. So
the dealers weren't necessarily making anything off of them, but they were, they were getting lower than what you could go to the lot and buy from them. Yeah. But I'm saying even if you worked for them, they should at least, just to get their name out even more, as a sort of an advertising type thing. Like, why don't you sell it to them for half price? Like, for God's sake, they're the ones that built it. So give it to them for cost or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you could build it in until you work here 5 years, 10 years, whatever the number is, and you get it for this percentage off. That'd be a heck of a benefit for some people. And
then my dad worked there for 30. Well, let's see, he worked there for 3 or 4 years before he went into the Air Force, and then got honorable discharge because he had what the hell was it? I forgot what the hell why they discharged him, but he was only in it for like 6 weeks. We went back to Ford, and he got some of his time back, but not all of it, I think. And he still worked another 30 years before he retired. Yeah. But even if you work there for that long and you retire, they should just give you a car as a retirement gift. Like, you don't have no payment for anything. Here you go. Thanks for 30 years of service. Here's your car. You know what I mean? Like, what are they? That's not many, Yeah.
Yeah. Forget the watch. Give me a car. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, Gilbert's drinking a Kona? I don't think I've ever seen you drink a Kona. Big Wave Golden Ale, been warm up here, son. Even you golfed. Wow. Gilbert's becoming cultured. See Gilbert hit the golf ball, the bear taking it. He's chasing the bear. Now, give my golf ball back.
I want to say the clubs that Gilbert has to use for those. Isn't he like 6'6" or something?
Yeah, he's got to be some long clubs for. Yeah,
he's got like special made. Got like 2 clubs twined together to make them walk in a 4-inch swing.
Yeah. You got to wait for the joke there. It's going to be a long shot. Let me see here. Apparently, Travis Twitt's record sales have been slumping. Apparently, it gets you in the news, so it'll probably pick up some sales. There's probably other artists that are jumping on board and saying this, and then they're probably getting picked up by people. Gives I prefer Mac myself, Mac trucks. Brother and I finished forming the patio pavers in Tucson. The entire patio and all around fire pit will be finished. Oh, nice. So a couple more weeks and it's all set right in time going into Memorial Day time.
Nice. Yeah. Perfect timing there.
Did you say yes? That guy burned a $250 bottle of Jack.
Jeez.
Again, if you're not woke, you're ignorant. So maybe he didn't know. Just saying. Yeah. People never cease to amaze me.
I'm not supporting you, even though you already got my money, but I'm not supporting you. You're never going to see me throw it away, but I'm going to throw it away just because.
Watch out, Angie. JV's a stalker sometimes. As you say. So if I put a Gadsden flag and a pride flag up with my U.S. flag, what would happen? Well, actually, where you're at, Vanessa, probably nothing because you're in Connecticut. They'd be like, just pick a flag. You don't got to put them all up. Just pick one. One each day.
Like, which one do you want to fly?
It don't matter which one it is. Just pick one. We're confused. Emerson said, I kind of don't think the Dome Mulvaney thing is about LGBT. Thought he was trolling for the longest time. I kind of feel bad for what it's planned. I hope Dill doesn't take up weightlifting. I don't know. I mean, everything there was kind of basically the way I saw stuff happen. I don't know about the trolling or anything like that was taking place. I just know when they showed the can with Dylan on it, it kind of brought up all these issues and stuff. So I don't even know who Dylan Mulvaney is. It was more because of everybody going crazy out there that got my attention.
Yeah, I didn't know who that person was either before all that.
Okay, you caught me. People need hobbies and stop watching news. Yeah, people do. People need to do some other stuff there too, right? Hobbies. Maybe read a book or do something else.
100% on that, Gilbert, for sure.
Yeah. But you're in Canada. Don't be bringing your education down here, Gilbert.
Yeah, right. We can't have smart people in this country.
Unfortunately, there is no common sense anymore. I'm with you there, Angie. I've said that for numerous times. Common sense has definitely sunk to an all new level, it seems, at times in this country.
That's at the bottom of the totem pole for sure.
I think they came out and said Social Security at 9 years until it dumps. Of course, that's when I'm supposed to probably get it. It'll probably be like, oh, we're out. You're out. Like, it's like you finally get to that point in the front of the line. They're like, oh, you just sold the last one. That would be my luck. That's why you got to make sure to protect yourself. You can't. You got Social Security out there, but like you got to be able to also build up your own stuff too, because we all know, at least here in the States, relying on the government is a dangerous thing sometimes. So you want to make sure you prepare yourself too, just in case. Make sure you're saving, which Americans are terrible savers for the most part. But we're getting better. We're getting better at it. I get hammered on YouTube, right? Then you can't even give you a definition of welcome. I'm just not going to let you marginalize me anymore. Those days are over. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it's not just that guy. It's people that are freaking running offices, running, states, and one was president. So, it's just kind of weird. It's just like, but again, I'm going to leave the education stuff alone. Just going to leave it alone because I can verse that one. Yeah. Lives getting hammered on YouTube. Yeah. Pull my finger.
Either or.
Avoid Kara or avoid Karens. Yeah, I feel bad for the Karens out there. I think we talking about that a couple weeks ago. Like
we did, yes.
Yeah, like women that were named Karen had to deal with it. I mean, Karen's going to be a dying name in the American lexicon at some point. Like just like Margaret or something. You don't see a lot of Margarets nowadays, but Karen's going to be going that way at some point. Can you imagine the horror of obligating yourself to drink Bud Light as a form of protest? You really got to believe in the cause. You got to be dedicated. It's not for the faint of heart. Trying to get that Bud Light army up. What are we going to do? We're going to go support. What are we going to do when support? We're going to drink Bud Light. How much Bud Light? All of it. All of it?
Are you sure? Yeah. Are you sure? You really? Okay.
Can we just send them a check? Yeah, you got to go in hardcore if you're going with the Bud Light. I'm allergic to rice. It'll be insolvent 9 years. It will then pay a low percentage. Yeah, it'll drop down. Yeah, it won't be insolvent, but there's always those fears and stuff out there. Right now, we're just trying to get the parties to work together so they can keep the debt ceiling in balance. Because that next thing will be coming up in a couple months too. 20% decrease, but a lot of folks on security must. Oh yeah, it definitely do. It definitely does. It hits. Been in the financial industry for over 30 years, and there's some stories of even today where people just get hit. Better light beers out there don't make you fat. Mullet having country singer. Oh yeah, I mean a lot of the breweries now are making light lagers. Craft breweries, you can go to craft brewery and get some light beers. Like you can get lager, like Garage Lager, like Braxton was putting out there. But there's some that are doing that more now. So you don't have to go macro either.
Yeah, one of the local breweries that we've been going to, they just come out with a pretty good lager a couple weeks ago. It's pretty tasty.
Yeah. 2032, nothing changed in funding it. Taxing the wealthy would help a lot. Well, that's the whole big thing before because of how much what a tax code is set up, how much is not being put in. That's really where it's straining a lot of the people in the economy that are like kind of that lower type level of stuff that really need the Social Security. But it's funny because like people talk about how high our tax bracket is now. People don't realize at one point our tax bracket was upwards of 70, 80%. Back during like I think it was during I don't know if it was during Truman or Eisenhower. It was back like the 50s, I think, where it had been high before. And so the economy still plugged along. So don't want to take all the money, but just saying, they always say your fair share, which I've never been a fan of the fair share phrase. Yeah, nobody really knows what that is. The United Way is bigger than that. Oh, just donate your fair share. But what's my fair share? Is that what I think is fair or what you think is fair? Because they're probably two different numbers.
I would think so. I think their meaning is what you think is fair, but it's not ever enough for what they think is fair.
Right. Fair share was never a phrase I've ever been a big fan of.
Again, it's like, what do you mean by that? Yeah, like you said, fair, you're fair.
Move the cap on taxable income for Social Security. That would help. Well, I just saw your survey headline: over 18,000 cows die in Texas dairy farm. No, I did not see that.
Oh, dang!
Wow.
Well, I guess
that's a lot of cattle.
Milk and all that stuff will be going through the roof now.
Milk, beef.
Yeah.
I know what kind of cows they were. Were they dairy cows or were they beef cows?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, depending on which ones they were.
I let my dogs out.
Who let the dogs out? Todd.
That one it barks every time the other ones move.
The amount of wages taxable under Social Security. I meant remove the cap. What's my family worked for and drove GMC and also worked and drove Mac. I showed everyone else. GMC and Mac are two good lines. But I always think of Mac like with the dump trucks and everything.
All right, yeah.
Thanks, Sarah. You will fun to watch. What's the best vehicle you ever owned and liked the most? The best vehicle I ever owned and liked them. Well, the one I liked the most was the Dodge Charger when I had it. That would probably be my best one too.
For me, probably my 93 is Ford Escape that I used to have.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. And then my daughter, our daughter drives a 06 Escape. It's the exact same model as what I used to have, and I like it. When we got it for it only had like 100,000 miles on it. Yeah. It's actually, knock on wood, it's been pretty good, pretty reliable vehicle for her. So.
Well, you're funny. You said the Ford Escape, and I actually at one time we had the Mazda Tribute, which is
basically
the same type of thing. So and that was a nice. It was a nice little SUV as well, and I do like the Grand Cherokee that we have now and stuff. But getting that Charger up over 110, 120 on the highway, I only did it like a couple times, but with that Hemi roaring, it's fun. You don't even feel like you're still moving yet. So I always wanted to think like if I got one and take it out to like what's in Utah, like the salt track or like that, everything, and you can just take cars out as fast as you want to go.
Let's see, my brother might have a Cherokee. I think he's got a Jeep something. It's an SUV, but I don't know if it's a Cherokee. It might be a Cherokee. I'm not really sure now.
Well, they got so many different versions of the Cherokee now.
Yeah. And then my mom, still drives an Escape. And I think hers is an 08, I think it is. Yeah. It's nice. It's barely got 100,000 miles on it. Hers just barely has 100,000 miles on it. Now, maybe it's got a few more than that now. But
the only thing I saw that was an issue, and I had it with the Charger, and when they first brought out the Dodge Avenger, I had one of those back in the day, is that both of them, when they got near 100,000, you started having transmission type issues. So it's like, if I got another one, well, now you can't even get the Charger. We're going to stop making it, but I would be like,
oh, yeah.
Get at least one. I wouldn't want to get the full thing.
Probably. I remember I remember as a kid, my mom used to have I think it was a 76 Impala.
Oh, okay.
It was nice. That was one of those you could climb up in the back window seal or whatever, before it was all the seat. I don't even know if it even had seatbelts in it. I don't even think. And then they also had Oldsmobiles. They had two different Oldsmobiles, I remember, which I drove one when I first got my license. It was an old 84 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme.
Oh, Cutlass Supreme. My mom had a Cutlass Supreme.
And it was nice. And
yeah.
It was like, I remember that was her and I was dating maybe when I was still driving it. And she was like, this thing floats like a boat. Like, it is such a dream. It just floats. Like, you don't even realize. I was like,
yeah. I believe the year was 1986. And we had just come back from watching a movie, me and my buddies. And we were out back then roads weren't as crowded and stuff. So we were on one of the back roads, and one of them happened to say, I bet you can't get this up to 120. Oh, you don't think I can get up to 120? Strap in, fellas. We're about to took it down the road, started coming up. It's at 70, hit the 80, the 90. People started to grip the leather, like, okay, bring it down. No, you said you wanted 120. We're going to get you to 120. Ended up hitting 120 and put the brakes down and stopped just in time before a stoplight at a four-way intersection. This was like at 12 o'clock at night or something like that. Kind of crazy. It's one of those things when you're young, you think you're invincible, so you're not going to die or something like that. Can't say it was the smartest move I've ever done in my life, but boy, was it exhilarating, right? So,
yeah, right.
And back then, we didn't have social media, so nobody had it on video.
Right, yeah. Prove it. And in my first car, before this Oldsmobile, was a 85 Ranger, Ford Ranger.
Yeah.
Which was when I first got my license. My dad had it, and they gave that one to me. And then they had some kind of a gasket problem, and then they were getting rid of their Oldsmobile. And I was like, I'll swap you. I'll take that one instead, and you can get rid of the Ranger. So that's how I ended up with the Oldsmobile. And then when I bought my first car, which was on my own, which was the Escape, 3 Escape.
Yeah, the first car I bought for myself was the Isuzu Stylus. Yeah. You know about Isuzu, people think of like the SUV. Yeah, they made cars at one point too. So it was a Stylus, and it was kind of a smaller. Remember when they had the Geo Prisms?
Oh yeah.
It was kind of something like that.
Oh, okay.
Everything, just kind of like It got up. It had some speed, like little Fast and Furious, one of those like 4 cylinders, but yet it has some type of acceleration on it. But
yeah, you should think of Suzuki. That's the first thing that pops in my mind is like the Jeeps or
the
small SUVs or whatever they were.
Yeah, got that back in '93. Moved to Kentucky, got rear-ended into a head-on, and got totaled. It's like
that sucks on those older ones because you're like, I don't own nothing on it, and all of a sudden now I gotta have a car.
Yeah. Well, what sucked on it too, because the way it got totaled and what I got for the insurance company on it, I went to get another car. I got stuck. I had to get like a Ford Tempo. Worst car, at least in my mind, ever. I mean, now if you lived in the '70s, you had the Pinto and you had the bubble type cars, the Pacer, Gremlin or whatever. Yeah, but in the '90s, the last thing you wanted to be seen in was a Tempo, and so maybe the K car. It was one of the other, but it was just definitely terrible. Like those are driver's ed cars. Like, why do you want to have one of those?
You weren't gonna be the lady killer in that car for sure, was you?
Good thing I was married already, right? Like, definitely wasn't gonna be dating in that one. Ford Tempo, terrible. I'd rather have a Studebaker.
Charles Barkley,
terrible. So you drive past the basketball court real low so nobody can see you. You park down the street and walk back.
I hope nobody's looking. Like, would you walk here? He's like, no, I'll park down the street. It's all good.
Can you give me a ride back? I thought you said you drove. Oh, yeah.
Well, sort of.
You better not tell anybody about this. Let's see here. Where did I leave off here in the comments? I've only done 2 news stories here too, so I got to go back and do those as well. Golf is cultured. I thought it was about the drinking. Well, golf is supposed to be those culture type sports, but playing golf. But it is about the drinking and stuff too. So, although if you're golfing, most people aren't going to whip out like a double IPA while they're golfing out there. I mean, not if you're trying to hit your fairway at a certain point.
You're right. Although I have been known to do that before.
It'd be a lot of fours. It was funny when I used to, when the company I used to work for, every summer they would have a golf outing, and we go golfing. And every year, like our people would bring Jello shots. So everybody's doing Jello shots as you're golfing in your car, all kind of stuff like that. Well, you don't have, I mean, you try to put stuff in the trash can. Most people try to, but obviously sometimes they don't, and people litter or they fall off the cart or maybe. That's still the worst place for Jello shot containers. Like, oh, there's my ball. Nope, it's a Jello shot container. Oh, there's my ball. Nope, it's a Jello shot container.
Yeah. On to the next.
You're in a scramble. Like, no, I'm going to go back and play his. I can't find mine. I thought it was this, but it's not. So, yeah.
When I did slow pitch softball, we used to have a golf scramble to raise money for our team. Because I wanted the guys to play manager at a golf shop. I remember Shane used to drive the beer cart a couple years there for our scramble. She had such a good time. So you imagine her driving down in a golf cart on the and that's what I said. You're the beer girl. Probably drinking more beer than you handed out, I'd say.
Most popular person on the golf course.
For sure. Hey, will you grab me another one on the fridge?
Yeah, it's the funny thing when you're out there golfing and you're like waiting for that golf cart. You're just like looking all around. You're waiting, you're hoping.
On the right.
And then when you see the golf cart, when the golf girl come across that horizon, it's just like, oh, it's magical. Here she comes.
Dude.
Thank you.
All them old men. Hey, their day. Now I'm the old woman.
Gilbert had a Honda, you said. Did your anaconda want some? Big Daddy's in the house. Cheers, Big Daddy. Got the big mouth. So you were over at Dovetail earlier, I saw, my friend, which looked like a great day. Play golf, relax me all the time. Makes me want to have a beer or two. Yeah, I find golf for the most part can be relaxing, but there are some frustrating moments that can happen too sometimes. Nothing worse than when you swear you hit a good shot and you get down there like, where the hell's your ball? And like, did somebody pick up my ball? Because that should have been right here. Like,
I know, I hate that. I feel like you should just go like, it's right here, and you drop a ball. You shouldn't have to take a stroke. Like, you don't have people out there, of course, to help you mark the ball. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's like on TV, it's so easy because there's somebody looking for you, right? Yeah.
There, so it's like
you land out of bounds, all the people run over to it. I got it. Like, you don't have that out there, you know.
Yeah, you're just by yourself, and the guy in the cart you're riding with is probably too drunk too to even know where your ball's at. He's like, I can't even find mine. I don't know where you're at.
Simo, cheers, my friend. Happy Friday to you. So he's overseas as well. Yeah, 2:30 in the morning there. Yeah, you're up late. Y'all don't know Simo. Make sure to check him out. He has some great beer streams on his stuff. And Simo, I'm trying to think. I want to say I don't know if you're in the UK or next to the UK, but you're right over there overseas. So I think it is actually UK. Was UK or Britain? We're going to say UK or Britain. Does it matter still? I don't know. Does it? Because
for sure. That's a good
I don't know what happened since the whole Brexit thing. Like, people get mad if you say the wrong thing. Hey, cheers, Liz. Liz says hi to everybody. Hello. Local brewery makes a nice like smoked Martin here. There you go. Or Merson, I should say. I let it slip there. Ford Rangers, I am on my third. I know people that like their Ford Rangers.
Yeah.
Ooh, Toyota MR2.
I like the new ones for sure because they look like the old F-150s. They all just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
So I know a lot of people like the new Broncos and stuff as well.
Yeah,
pretty smooth.
They're not bad.
Although it's almost like an all-terrain type vehicle at some point.
Yeah.
I remember that.
There's a Ford dealership right in front of where I work at in the east end of Louisville, which is kind of the ritzy part of Louisville. And they have a shit ton of Broncos out there just sitting in the front of their lot. And I was like, man, those are nice. They are nice.
Yeah.
I haven't seen too many out on the road, actually, though.
I do remember the MR2 as well. That's a 280Z was fun, but not really practical for someone that's 6'3". No, one of the guys that was in our neighborhood back in the day, his dad had a 280Z, and he was kind of tall too, but it was just like it was like a status type thing. I think back then, like in the late 80s, early 90s, whatever. It was like you couldn't have been as comfortable in that car.
Yeah, hunched over. Yeah, it's okay.
That's why you all take pictures outside the car.
You're right.
They're all posing on the outside of it. Yeah.
10, you're all hunched over. Like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah, Mac is the king of the dump trucks for sure. Dad drove during his early days as a Mac mechanic with a Camelback suspension. Make sure you have a heavy load, son. Yeah, I think of the Mac as like the king of the dump trucks as much as I think of like Peterbilt as like the king of the tractor trailer.
Yeah.
As a kid seeing like the tractor trailers, Peterbilt was like the one that always had the cool frames and all that kind of stuff with it. And people used to hook him up too. I wonder what Joe D's truck looks like. I need to get a picture of his truck at some point. I bet he's got a pretty hooked up cab that he drives. I saw we got the 121 just east of Pecos, Texas. That 2 Texas State Troopers just gave me a warning. Yeah, you probably sweet talked your way out of that one.
Yeah. Try to pull the shirt down just a little bit.
Yeah. Well, probably back then too. Because the roads, like I said, the roads weren't as populated as they are now. You probably had some pretty good open road.
Oh yeah.
You got a fast car in the open road. It's like it's just teasing you to hit the gas. I feel like you shouldn't be held responsible. It's just like, what am I supposed to do? It's just, it's the moment.
Right. They built it that fast.
They built that, yeah.
Drive it that fast.
And I was put down to my 2011 Mazda. It goes up to 160. I don't believe it. But you can always try. See where you can get to.
One way to find out.
Buddy in the 80s used to have a Lacar. I remember the Lacar. Texas is a big state, but it's amazing how 50 can pop up when you're in the desert. Got my first speed ticket, 76 Vega with a small block 350. He cut the radar off at 100. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Well, they got those places and those traps and stuff they set up. I mean, they'll definitely try to catch you through there.
No, and that's what people are going to do.
Vanessa, hey to Shannon. Hey to Big Dame. And when I was junior high school, me and my buds fit a case of OV splits with ice in a cold bag. I drank and caddied. The cart bill, purple smoke on return. Best day of golf I ever had on a fall day. Nice.
And I'm sure she have Vanessa, but she already left the room by the time you pulled that comment up. I'll say hi for her to you anyway.
Yeah, it's definitely how you want to do it. All right, so I got the comments caught up. Next beer news story.
Oh, she said hi Vanessa in the background.
Who do we have? So we had Major League Baseball, right? So Major League Baseball, for all you baseball fans out there, and Todd, obviously you played. I don't know if you're still watching the games right now. So I started getting more into watching them with the Orioles and stuff. They've been kind of exciting. But this has come up as kind of I don't know if this came up last week or a couple weeks ago as well. We were I remember talking about some, like people were asking maybe about beer with baseball, because baseball was being sped up now, where it's like a 2.5 hour type session. Well, now Major League, some of the ballparks are extending the beer hours later. Like it used to be cut off like end of maybe the 7th inning or whatever, and some are going to the 8th inning or whatever. And some of the ballparks are on board with it, some aren't. I know Philadelphia, they're like asking concerns about it because people drink maybe too late into the game, then have to turn around and leave the stadium. Other ones are kind of like not even thinking about it. I think they're just kind of like, some on the fence, like Boston, they're not doing anything as of yet. But it's kind of interesting. I haven't been to a game. I'm going to definitely try to go to an Oriole game at some point here, since it's like 2 blocks away from me. But I just feel like the way they're going and watching them on TV, they are going a lot quicker. And if you go to a ballpark to get a beer, are you going to be there like chugging the beer before the beer thing closes? You think it's a good idea or a bad idea to kind of do this?
As much of a baseball guy that I am, I think what they've done to speed the game up is so much greater than what it was. Because who wants to watch a guy adjust himself, tug at himself?
Hey,
batting glove.
There's probably an OnlyFans channel for that. It's probably an OnlyFans channel. Just saying.
Probably is. Yeah. And then they're taking their time, and there was a game between, and it was like 4.5 hours. Like, ain't nobody got time to watch a 4.5 hour baseball game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, You got to the point where I was kind of getting like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Now it's like back in the olden, in the olden days, they never had that problem because the pitcher was ready to go and they were done in 2.5 hours, whatever, or under 2 hours. Now it's kind of getting back to that, and I kind of like the pitch clock and the things that they've done to help speed it up.
Yeah, I do like that and everything. What do you think about the beer sales, though? You think that's
the beer sales things like?
Well, you think they should be? Do you think they should?
I remember as a kid going over so we got the AAA team Louisville Bats. Well, it's the Louisville Bats now. Back when I was a kid, it was the Louisville Redbirds, and they were the Cardinals farm system. Now they're the Reds farm system. But I remember back in the day, we used to go to the games all the time. My mom, my dad, my grandma loved going to baseball games, so we always took her, my aunts, and whatever. But after the game, when the game was over, they would have a band that played like in the I don't know what you would call it, in the commons area, whatever. They had a bunch of seats and stuff. They'd have like a band play, and they would still sell beer forever. We'd sit there for hours after the game. Like it'd be like midnight by the time you left a 7 o'clock game. You know what I mean? Like because mom and dad, everybody's like, well, we're just gonna sit and let the traffic die down. Of course, back then, there was they had a lot of. At the time, back in the 80s, they were like the first minor league team to have, in a year's time, have over 1 million fans attend a game in the season.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So they had a lot of things going on back then, but it was. But I just remember, like, it was so much fun as a little kid. It was like, okay, whatever, just running around, and they were just sitting there drinking beer and listening to music and dancing, whatever. And when it was done, it was like, okay, let's go home. And it was like midnight or whatever. It was. No team, you don't see any parks really do that anymore. So I like the idea that they were lengthening the times of some places anyway.
Well, I think with the minor league parks, you could do that because they're more minor league ballparks are more family oriented to have those type of things to help them raise funds, all kind of stuff that the majors are. But I think with the majors, I mean, depending on how much someone's drinking, and I've been at games, we've had like events there and like that and everything, and I've seen where it's like people are like, oh, they're about to close the bar. And people start chugging their drinks away so they go get another one before they actually close it and stuff. And so people towards the end getting hit with too many of them, and then they're going to go out and get in traffic or something like that and everything. I don't know. It could be kind of a weird situation. So we'll have to see what happens from it. Yeah.
But I also can see that side of it because major leaguers make so much damn money, and there's no, Aaron Judge just signed a $500 million deal or whatever. Like they got shortening beer sales definitely hurts the team's income. You know what I mean, of what they can afford to dish back out. So it's like, well, so we should have had a union a long time ago, and kind of like the NFL is like, you got a cap or whatever. They'll never get that name in Major League Baseball. Like that'll never happen now because their union's too strong.
You keep getting paid after you leave, like Ken Griffey, 4th highest rate paid Red right now.
Yeah, and he hasn't played
Griffey Jr. has
20
played
years.
Yeah. Like the Bobby Bonilla deal, but better because it's more money. So
But again, like that's part of the problem I have with Major League is like you've got the same team. Like the Yankees are always going to be good. The Dodgers are going to be good. You got teams that. And then you also had the teams like the Cardinals who always are good, and they're just a small market team, but they do it the right way. It's like, yeah, sure, they do buy some pieces at the end of the year if they have a chance, but that's different than going out and just buying players after players after players to make your team.
Yeah. To sell beer only certain vendors, not in the seats for the whole game. Don't sell to drunk fans, just like at bars. Well, I can tell you, I've seen bars where they still sell to people that shouldn't be getting served. They still overdo that too, and they do it at ballparks. I mean, it's kind of like some workers aren't going to care because they're going to go and do it, and as people get more tipsy, economically wise, they usually tip better. So you're probably not going to cut off some of the people. I mean, unless they're falling down on the ground in front of you or something, Hell, we even see that on bar rescue sometimes. Spit of golf as well. Must need to sell Bud Light only in problem solved. There you go. That'll help sort things out there. My idea for golf was
all the way.
My idea for golf years ago was to have like a Terry Tate type player out there, If they didn't swing in a certain amount of time, you release the linebacker. You got to hit that ball before the linebacker hits you.
That'd be good. That'd be good.
I think that would bring a great entertainment value to golf.
That would, for sure.
Let me go to spend the day at Wrigley. I think the short games suck. I mean, you're going to have the different field. There's a lot of traditionalists that like to have the mental games that take place and to stretch it out there, but some are there. The thing about baseball that gets me still, knowing that we now have the technology and been shown we can do it. And Todd, I'll ask you because you were a baseball player in college. Is there something where people like to have the human error factor? Because we've seen now where you can have a computer do it. A computer can pretty much call anything ball and strikes from where the pitches are done. Like when you watch them on TV and there's a pitch box, you can see if the ball's in or out the zone, and the computer can easily do that. You wouldn't need that umpire.
Right. I think there is. I think there's a part of people that do like the human error side of things. Mm-hmm. Although when it goes against what they're rooting for, they don't like it so much. But they also like, you know what I'm saying? Like it just depends. But I also think they want that, like they don't want to, like you said, you can see on TV for sure what's a strike and what's, just because it's a strike in the box.
We see a miss.
Yeah. Calling it a strike in the game. So right. So I think that does make up. And I in saying that and seeing like the instant replays and stuff sometimes at the end, under 2-minute warning or whatever, I think that somewhat kind of does take away from the game a little bit, in my opinion.
Yeah. I was just trying to
get it right when they do that, they get it right, and that's kind of the end goal. But it also kind of gives you things to talk about. Because you're like, well, if that guy would have called that the right way, they would have never won, blah, blah, blah. It kind of takes away from that aspect a little bit.
It's like I see it, and I'm like, okay, you could have the computer do the balls and strikes. You still keep the umpire out there in case there's a play at the plate, and you need to see if the tag was down in time or not possible. You want that human type factor. But I'm just like, why not have the computer do the ball and strike count?
I understand what Big Daddy's saying there, but it's like, even for me, it was getting too much lollygagging going on. Like too much
lollygagging. League. Bunch of lollygaggers.
But I'm just like, you don't have to adjust your batting gloves and your helmet every single pitch. Like just get in there and hit the damn ball, or just get in there and get ready. Like you don't have to. So in those regards, I kind of like the pitch clock because it makes you.
You think a lot of players?
You know what I mean? Like
you think a lot of players do it because there is.
And lollygag.
Shannon's getting on me. She's like, you just literally said the olden times and lollygagging. So what she's saying is she's calling me old without calling me old.
But the superstition factor, because a lot of players are superstitious.
They are in baseball.
And so, like some players feel like they got to do it all the time. If they don't do it, something bad will happen.
And that's true. No, baseball players are the worst in any sport, I would think.
Yeah.
Only because I played of superstition. Like it goes a long way, especially in baseball for sure. But it got to the point, like you're saying, like who wants to sit there for, especially if you got little kids, who wants to sit there for 4.5 hours at a game?
That's hard to keep kids under control for that long.
Yeah. Well, and then there was so much time in and out, like in between pitches, and so they have cut down, the pitch clock. And now when they challenge a play, the manager has to instantaneously do it for the most part, or it's a done deal. Like they can't challenge
right
the play or whatever now. And then so it's kind of, there are some aspects of it that are good, but I understand what Big Daddy's saying also. And Tom the Beer Whisperer would probably say the same thing. Like that's just
that's just the sport. That's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, he would say, that's just it's not.
But they've made improvements to baseball over the other thing. I mean, this is like the latest thing now. So, also, I mean, I can remember when people used to fight, about having to put nets up on the sides. Like now we have the nets in the ballparks, right? You have enough people who got nailed with foul balls. You're like, maybe we should do that net idea. Maybe not only have like one stadium in the league that does it, right? Like, hey, maybe that team was woke. That team was woke, so they put the nets up. Everybody else was like, we're not woke. We're not putting the nets up.
And kind of the other thing I don't like they've done it, but I like that they do it, is now they don't allow the defense to shift their infielders where they have like 3 guys on one side of the field and just 1 guy on the other side. Because hitters nowadays, they don't know how to take advantage of that one guy being on that side. They just either strike out or home run, basically. Like the game has changed so much, you know what I mean? Like it's just not. It's not.
I mean, if you had a team of like Ichiro, they would kill you if you did something like that.
Yeah, and I'm like, just what? Who cares if you hit 60 home runs a game? If you got 3 guys on one side and the other guy's playing way back, bunt and run, like you're getting a base hit. Who cares? You know what I mean? Like you're on base, like throw your ego aside and just get on base and do whatever it takes to win. Like I still have the old mentality type of baseball, but I kind of like the changes of the new age baseball that they've made.
So I actually cracked open the big little thing Imperial Ale. So I'm kind of drinking that one right now.
Oh, no, I haven't had that one.
19.2 ounce can again. So another company on board with that, of course. And I've had this one. I got the review on this one on the channel as well. But it's another decent IPA. Again, I was just feeling the IPAs today. Maybe it was the weather that got me into it. This one is 9% ABV.
I just cracked one open too, but this one is a fruited sour from Brewing Company. It's called Spin to Win Jackpot. It's a blackcurrant, blackberry, strawberry, and blueberry sour.
All the berries.
This is the new one that just came into market also within this past week. So, and I've had some stuff from them at Beer Fest, and they were really good. So.
Very nice.
Like, yeah, and they're kind of more on the sour side of things, kind of like 450 North-ish, you know. But they do make some other stuff that have actually been pretty good also. But since I got some IPAs from Phase 3, I was like, well, I'm going to grab a couple sours from them and see how those are. Here almost kind of looks like a
great plum color,
one-colored Kool-Aid something, yeah.
Yeah.
But definitely berry smelling for sure. Kind of get more of the sweetness, like sugary smell out of it.
You're the Sammy Sosa. This beer has been very good to me. No, you're right there, JT. So games can definitely cost you, and you said 1 or 2 anyway because it's so expensive. That's the thing. Like you don't have. Do you have? I don't think I've ever. Well. I've seen some of the local bars, at least here in Baltimore, where people will drink before the game, but it's not like football where people tailgate before the game or anything like that. You don't really have that with baseball, right? Like tailgating type things. It's kind of like basketball. You go right into the arena, so you have no tailgate. Like football's the only one that really has like the whole tailgate and getting juiced up before the game. You're there for hours ahead of time. Yeah.
That makes me, and maybe I've said this story before on here, and if I have, it might have been a while, but back before my dad passed away. So when they first started the interleague play, Yankees, of course, he was a big Yankees fan. My brother's a big Yankees fan because of my dad. Now I'm a Reds fan, but so Yankees came to Cincinnati for the first time. So me, my dad, my brother, and one of my good friends went to the game. And he flagged my dad. We first got into the stadium. Dad flagged down the beer guy, you know, that totes the beers around or whatever. Mm-hmm. He was like, give me 4 of them. So he was buying us all a beer. And the guy said, well, that'll be like $22 or something. And my dad looked up at him. He was like, I didn't want the whole damn case. I was just wanting to buy 4 beers. my friend was like, here, I'll get this one. Because he hadn't been to a game. And that's how long it's been since he's actually been to a game. He didn't realize the beer prices have gone up.
Yeah.
And we started laughing. It was so funny. It was like, oh, God.
He's like, for a beer? Did they change the formula?
Right, yeah.
Is it a new recipe? What's going on?
Yeah, I told him, he was like, I don't want the whole damn case. I was just wanting 4 beers.
Yeah, lollygagger is always one of those words you can always use at some point.
Lollygagger.
Tim Buck was my big league chew before stepping to the batter's box. But big league chew when you were a kid, yeah. Oh, went through packs of that growing up.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see what else we got new. Go ahead.
I remember in high school, when we played in high school, one of the guys that played on our team, he used to – so back in high school, you know, he wasn't supposed to be chewing tobacco or anything like that. It was illegal. So he would wrap up his gum around his tobacco and chew a big old lump. Yeah, to kind of hide it or whatever. And it was the big league chew because he could wrap it around it and put it all up so they couldn't tell it was chewing tobacco. But I was like, man, there's no way that was any good. Like, how
I can't believe it either. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would definitely be an acquired taste. Let's see here. So too bad Joe's not here. So Genesee Brewery, they're actually close to announcing a winner of their specialty beer. They had a vote on it, and the fans got the vote on it. The 4 beers were for Winterberry, Winter Citrus, Pear Cinnamon, and Apple. And they had over 10,000 votes that were done. So they're actually, I guess they showed a picture of them. They were like hand counting, I guess, a lot of the votes and stuff. But question is, I wonder how many times Joe voted. Like, 'cause that's his brewery up there, Genesee. He loves some Genesee.
So before you say, or maybe you didn't, did they announce the winner?
No, it hasn't happened yet. It'll be like, I think
okay.
next week is when the winner will be announced.
So of those 4, which one would you choose?
Probably the Winter Citrus.
Yeah, see, I was torn between that one and I don't know why, but the Pear Cinnamon kind of sounds intriguing.
Pear Cinnamon sounds interesting. I feel like if you got any...
The Winter Citrus kind of was like, okay, yeah, that I could see that.
I feel like if we got anybody watching that did the Busch Apple, they might choose Apple because everybody seems to really like that beer when Busch had it come out.
I have had that one, and it actually is really good.
Yeah. But I think Genesee, they have some neat little beers they do from kind of a craft side of things too. So
I like their OG just cream ale, but I can't ever find it around here anymore. I was getting it over at Total Wine there for a little while, but by work, but I ain't seen it for the last few times I've been in there.
Yeah, because the cream ale is usually, I thought, everywhere for the most part.
Yeah,
and I don't get the cream and the ice. I just saw the Springbok.
Yeah, we don't get Genesee in Indiana at all that I know of.
So you had to go to Kentucky when you get it.
Yeah. And like I said, I was getting it there for a while because you can buy like a 12 pack for like $8.99 or something like that. I was like, oh, that's a good just have around the house beer,
just to have around for a daily drinker. Yeah. So we had 2 breweries that are now teaming up, and this kind of goes to what we're seeing somewhat in the beer world. Some breweries are being crunched. I saw a couple that went out of business here in the last few weeks, and Melvin, which is pretty popular. I haven't had anything from Roadhouse, but I've had Melvin before out of Wyoming. They come together to announce their new parent company, Pure Madness Brewery Group. So we'll see what that actually brings out. But I feel like you may see more breweries kind of tying into something like this. We had a few years ago where it was Victory and Southern Tier, and I forgot who the third brewery is. They all got together on the East Coast, but we've seen other ones that have started to do that too. So more of the power in numbers, I guess you can say. Boston Beer. This is another trend that we're seeing out there. So they're actually launching their Slingers signature cocktail singles. This will come into 3 different markets. They're actually going to have, I forgot what 3 markets they were looking at, what 3 states they were, but basically they're going to be cocktails. I know Bahama Mama, I think, is one of them, and they have a couple other ones that are going to be working the 8% ABV, get your cocktail in a can type thing that we've seen some other people kind of doing out there. So I think as attitudes and tastes have started to change some, you still have beer, but the beer numbers have come off a little bit. They're seeing more, maybe the younger drinkers now gravitating more to some of these things, just like some of the seltzer type things, that you're going to have some more experiments coming out like this. So I've seen more and more of these things pop up in shelves. Something, if you're a fan of cocktails, now get your cocktail in a can. And if you ever wanted to try haggis, this is really with JT or Big Daddy, since they're in Chicago. Friday, they're going to be doing a beer release there at Revolution, and you can actually have the Scottish dish as well. So if you feel like you want to go ahead and try that cuisine, swing by Revolution. I've been at restaurants that have had it before, and I've not wanted to do that. So I'll take a pass myself.
I'll pass.
I'll go with the bangers and mash. Thank you very much. But
there you go.
If you're in Chicago and you want to try haggis, you have an opportunity to do so. And then also, it's funny because I drank a Bell's tonight. So they actually have now launched distribution in Alaska, Idaho, Oregon, Washington, and Utah for new markets, and now they are actually in 49 states. The only state they're not in is Miami. I mean, Hawaii. Hawaii is the only state they're not into. But another thing I didn't realize, though, they are actually, I don't know if they're considered craft beer anymore because their parent company is now a subsidiary of Sapporo, which technically would not make them craft beer.
True.
So that's something that's been interesting. I don't know if anybody's kind of made that switch on them as of yet. Again, it's getting into the whole labeling type thing, is whether or not you're going to be to that level to really care about it or not. But it's kind of interesting to see how they get treated out there, just because so many people do look at them as being a craft beer, one of the top craft beer places. Actually, they just got voted as one of the iconic craft beer spots that I had on the Facebook page. So it's interesting.
Well, it'd be like Boston Beer Company. They always grew outside of they always change the dynamics of what makes you craft beer.
Right.
I feel like, you know what I mean? Like
they changed it for them.
Sam Adams that much to bend the rules, you know what I mean? Like, why are you doing that?
But they were doing the barrels, they were doing that, but I don't think they ever changed it for the ownership clause. So that'd be kind of interesting. But
well, yeah, that's true.
You can get Bells more than you can get Yingling in the States now. So
yeah.
I mean, Bells everywhere. So I guess that's the other thing too. We talked about it a couple of years ago. They pulled out of Virginia, but I guess they're back in Virginia now. So I guess Larry got over whatever he was pissed off with them about, that you can now get that there.
Didn't he step down from Bells? Or is he still in charge? I was thinking that he might have, or was going to. I don't know.
He may have, when they actually went ahead and took the deal to go under the other company now.
Yeah.
So he may, and that's the reason that led to them expanding it more now. The other company is like, we need to push out to more markets. So yeah, you're probably right.
But I mean, they're still making good stuff, you know.
Yeah. And then down in Kentucky, across the river for you, group hopes to make Kentucky Common the official state beer. Which would make sense. Have a Kentucky Common Ale, which is a darker beer there. I think it's I wouldn't say dark lager for the Kentucky Common. I have to look at that style. But anyway.
Really sure to be honest.
Yeah, but not just the bourbon state, but also the Kentucky Common state, which again would make sense to have that. In sad news, 87,000 beer cans and bottles were destroyed after piling up at the border throughout the pandemic. So these were actually full beer. Like it's like not just like recycled stuff. This is like full bottles of beer, full cans. I mean, it was a wait to get into the States, and what are you going to do? We're going to drink while you're waiting, I guess. So they had all this alcohol down there, and they just pretty much laid it all out on whatever field, and they pretty much mashed it all down and steamrolled it. I'm just like,
so they were empty. They weren't full.
No, they were full. They were all full.
Oh, they were full.
They were full, and they put them out there, and then they steamrolled them, and it's just like, I feel like you could have done something better than that. I mean, you know,
that's what I was thinking.
Some of the guys that could give some of the workers take them home, you know, or something. I don't know. Send them. I think just a big waste. 87,000 beers.
I'm sure there's people on the streets that could, you know, would have taken them just fine. Like, who cares?
Right?
2 years old. I don't care. I'm gonna drink it anyway.
Can't believe you're doing that. That's vandalism. Deschutes Brewery, they're actually bringing non-alcoholic beer capabilities in-house through a new partnership with sustainable beverage technologies. So they're going to be doing a little bit more of a push for non-alcoholic beer. And it's funny, I had a thing on Twitter and a while back, and Joey from STD had asked me about that, like responded to it thinking like, you know, why non-alcoholic beer type thing. I think was thinking that it might not be as big as it, but no, I told him there's a market out there. There's definitely a market of drinkers now that wants the non-alcoholic stuff, whether or not it's because they don't drink alcohol or they can't drink alcohol, or they just like the taste of it and don't want to get the buzz of it, which makes sense as well. So,
or not like that, like, if they make it good, and like you said, if you're at work or something, you go out to lunch and you want to have a beer with a burger or whatever, like you can drink and not, you know, if it's a good like IPA or something that you can have with no alcohol in or whatever, like I'm sure there's a time and place for that as well.
Yeah, and with the way craft beer is now, non-alcoholic beers taste a lot better than what some people kind of remember thinking of the old St. Pauli type thing, right? So if you really haven't had non-alcoholic beer since kind of in the 90s or whatever, it's like a totally different set out there. And with some of the younger generations that are drinking that are a little bit more health conscious, it makes sense for them. They're gravitating towards that type of thing. So you may have a regular beer, but you may have 2 or 3 non-alcoholic just to kind of enjoy as well, but not kind of build up that buzz.
Or if you have a person that's like, yeah, I'll drive. That's fine. Yeah. I'll drive, but I want to have the beer. I want to have a good flavored beer, but it doesn't care about getting the the buzz or the drunkenness of a beer. Right. But just wants to hang out, have fun, and feel like he's drinking a beer. Like that would be totally. Like I can get behind that because I'm like, I just want to go and drink it because I like the beer, not necessarily because of how it's going to make me feel, whatever.
Yeah.
So I could totally get behind something like that. Like if it's a good IPA or stout or whatever, whatever flavor it might be. As long as it was good.
And I think that's one of the reasons why you're seeing like athletic brewing growing as good as they are right now. They've got I haven't had it yet, but from everything I've heard, they've got a pretty good taste of non-alcoholic beer that people enjoy. I know JJ Watt was one of their spokespeople, I think, and he showed like he keeps it at home and stuff. And it's just like, you want a break, you want to kind of have a taste of a beer, but not have the full beer. Here you go.
Yeah. So I could totally see.
Yeah. And then the last thing was last week. I mean, I wasn't here because I was on vacation, but it was National Beer Day last week. So hopefully everybody got to enjoy some nice beers for that as well. I know I did down in Florida and got a chance to kick back and check out some new stuff down there. Went by one of the breweries. I went to the Three Daughters Brewing when I was down there. And it was an okay brewery. It was people were all nice that I was talking to there. Beers were a little bit lighter than what I would usually like, but it's definitely, from talking with them, it made sense for that atmosphere where you're like at Clearwater Beach and you got the heat and stuff. You want some of the lighter things, so they kind of tailored to that. They were working on a 9% beer, which would have been their highest ABV one, but it's not like what we're used to seeing when we walk in a lot of spots when it's like 11 or 12 or 13 or something on tap.
You're what, in the Tampa area or Clearwater?
Clearwater Beach, yeah, right in that Tampa area though.
I was going to tell you before you went, I was like, you should go, or while you were down there, I was going to say you should go to like Angry Chair because I think that was in that area where you're at.
Oh, okay.
And but they're more like known for their stouts and stuff, I believe. Yeah, they're in Tampa. So
they're in Tampa. So yeah. Tampa would have been a drive. So I had to go over. Or
I wasn't sure where you was at.
Yeah. But Clearwater,
and it's phenomenal.
Three Daughters was like the only brewery they actually had there. They had a lot of bars and restaurants you can go to and try other stuff that they get from the other breweries. But an actual brewery being there was Three Daughters. But no, it was good. It was decent from what I had there, and it was just, a little lighter like that. So basically, if I wanted like a brewery that was like sessionable beers, it'd be a nice little spot to pop into.
So did y'all stay like right on the beach or?
Yeah, we were like right on the beach for the most part. So yeah.
Nice.
So that was an easy walk out for sure. We had to cross the street to cross over to the beach, but we were closest as you can get to the beach for any building, anything like that and stuff, which was nice.
There you go.
And into the Gulf of Mexico. So let's see here. Go back to the comments and see what we got. Gilbert said haggis is delicious, son. So he's had haggis. I would take a pass on it. JT's in Chicago. He said, I'll pass on the haggis, though I do love Revolution. So it could be an opportunity, JT. I'm just saying it was right there.
When in Rome.
When in Rome, right? In Chicago, there were dozens of bars with a couple blocks of Wrigley Field, but hardly any near Guaranteed Rate Field. Huh. I think Guaranteed Rate Field is where the White Sox played at, right? So, different part of town. If I rarely ever see Genesee in Chicago. Rarely. Yeah, I don't know what their distribution patterns actually like. So.
Yeah, I'm with you, JT, because we don't see it here either. Like I said, I was getting over in Kentucky, but I haven't seen it the last few times. Not that I go to Total Wine that often, but I've not seen it there the last few times.
He said, I think just before the pandemic, the craft industry reached a saturation point. I'm surprised there has been a sharp decline in the sheer number of breweries since 2020. I mean, there were some that cut back, and it was kind of, what saved a lot of the breweries was the fact that states enacted breweries to allow them to have people do curbside or do delivery. things on those lines. In some state, wherever you're at, you could actually order the beer delivered with food. I mean, there were other ways that states worked with the breweries to keep some of them viable out there. I think with some of the stuff that was put in place, if it hadn't been, you would have saw more breweries probably fall off and everything. But there was a lot done to actually adapt for breweries, and then breweries themselves adapted. They started spacing out their breweries a little bit more so they can get people back in there that were able to do that, and then that helped them out as well. So it's tough. I mean, now you have so many breweries that are still out there. It's just a matter of who's going to go where, who's going to do what, just because there's so many. And the cool thing about breweries is you have like community type breweries. So like every community can almost have their own like type brewery in a lot of spots. It's just got to be a community that's viable enough for them. And I was listening to one of the breweries on one of the podcasts earlier this week, and they were smart. And this is something we talked about before, talking about tallgrass a couple years ago.
Oh, right.
The brewery was like, they were asked about expanding distribution, and they were like, yeah, we thought about it, but we really don't want to, because one of the things we learned about the business that you don't want to grow too fast, and how you can actually fail by going too fast and putting yourself too thin in spots and stuff like that. And I think that's something that breweries have learned, seeing the missteps of other ones that have come before them too. So that might be a reason we don't see as many decline as well. People are kind of staying in their lanes, so to speak, as far as how they're actually growing and stuff out there now too, and making sure they can handle what they have.
Plus that, not only that, it's like the allure of the name of a brewery, especially if they start getting known for, like let's say the other half and other breweries that now they've over the years have expanded, but there for a while it was like, oh, other half or whatever. Or 450 North, for instance, like I think Louisville just started getting some distribution of 450 stuff. And I'm like, okay, so we used to get it years ago before they got big in their sour game or whatever, but now they don't have no distribution as far as I know in Indiana. At least not down where I'm at anyway. Maybe up north or in the middle of the state they could have, but other state they do. But yeah, it's like people want what they can't have. So in a sense, that kind of makes them even more powerful,
Yeah, it's like
market, whatever is where I was going with that. It's like, now, all of a sudden, once things become available, and you're like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like Firestone. I remember when Firestone first came out, we were like, oh, I can't wait to get. Even though I still like their Parabola and stuff like that, but I don't ever see it that much anymore. It's like, oh, what? Okay, what happened?
Yeah.
Like I want the good stuff. I don't want to buy your daily stuff, but although buying the daily stuff is what kind of keeps the specialty stuff coming,
Yeah, I think it depends on, obviously, the supply and demand, right? So they were supplying, and if demand wasn't there, they started pulling stuff. That's what you saw with people that ask about Bourbon County. Like they go to these spots they used to get it, and they're like, oh, we didn't get any this year because they weren't selling enough other Goose Island stuff.
Right.
So they cut off sending the Bourbon County type stuff, which is, part of that goes along with it. You got to be able to sustain for other companies that are saying, our research shows we don't really do that much here, so let's not put it there. Let's put our efforts over here where we know to do better. So if a company they're selling a ton of Goose Island IPA, then they're going to get like 6 cases of Bourbon County.
Yeah.
If you're only selling a half a case, you ain't getting any. It just doesn't, we're not going to reward you for not being able to sell the product.
And that was the guy, my friend, the guy that I knew that had the liquor stores. And that's what he would always say. He got into it one time with the guy. I don't know, maybe it was the rep or somebody. Who's like, take all your Goose Island stuff out of here. I don't want it. For now, you can give me none of the Bourbon County stuff on that sells or whatever. It's like, and he was like, well, you got to sell the other stuff for us to give you more of that. He's like, well, nobody's buying it, so what do you want me to do? He's like, just take it out. So he kind of boycotted them for a couple of years, and they finally started bringing it back. But he'd only get like a case of just the regular Bourbon County.
Right.
So instead of selling it, he would have a Black Friday where he would, throughout the year, he would just hoard all of the specialty stuff that he was able to get, and he would do raffle tickets. And you got a raffle, if you got your ticket drawn, you can go up and select like 5 different beers or whatever. Of course, you had to pay. I mean, you paid for them, but you got the chance to buy them.
To win it.
So I thought it was, which I thought was a really good idea on his part. So you got a lot of good stuff that you wouldn't see a lot of places, but But in those regards, like if you ain't buying the main, the everyday stuff or whatever that they're going to supply to you, you're not going to get the specialty stuff for the most part.
Right. And like the place I took you to before, Depths, they would do the raffle type thing as well.
Yeah.
But in a way, I used to hate when Goose Island did that, but now I got it later on. I mean, it's just basically the same way that we get rewarded for loyalty points on stuff, right? So it's just a reward system. If you actually are selling that product, the people that sell most of that product will be the ones that get the first crack at these other things. And I've seen some stores where they didn't get it on Black Friday, but there was enough left over. They got the next shipment that went out. So you may not get that first one, but they still may come back to you on the second time to give it to you as well. But you got to produce on the other stuff,
Right. Yeah. Kind of feel like Bourbon County is kind of one of those that's kind of like a dying, like it's not as, like people don't care about it as much as they used to.
No, I mean, I was, where was I just at? I was just somewhere, and they actually still had Bourbon County. Oh, yeah, Total Wine here. They still had Bourbon County on the shelf.
Yeah,
a couple weeks ago. They still have Bourbon County. Yeah.
I want to say cases, but I don't know if there's actually 24 beers in a box. Maybe it's only 12. I'm not really sure for those.
When I went,
they had like 8 or 10 of them just stacked up, just right
there.
Yeah,
when I went there, it was like 3 or 4 they had there right in front of the shelf with them. Like people were walking right by them and stuff. And
that was like 7, 8 years ago. You couldn't find them anywhere. Like even the regulars, like you might stumble across it every now and again, but you would never hardly see it like you have in the last couple of years. Just like they're still out there until the next one comes out. You still even see, last year's on the shelf or something.
Oh, I can show. I'll go up to New Jersey probably for Mother's Day to visit my mom. And if I go to one of the liquor stores, I'll probably end up stumbling across something that'll still be on the shelf there because they get so much other stuff that come in. Like you mentioned, like they get like the parabolas and all that kind of stuff that I'm always get and different things too. So it's like I go into stuff now and I can still see like some of the big bad Baptist type stuff that people.
That's what I was going to say.
It's like never be on the shelf. Yeah,
that's kind of went away that we used to get here, and I was like,
yeah.
I guess they weren't selling or didn't get enough of their normal stuff, so they just don't get none of the. I was like, dang, I love that beer. That beer is so good. And then we can't get none of it.
Yeah, right. Shout out to Trez. Trez is in the house. Cheers, homie.
Trez.
I think Trez is actually working, I'm thinking. Big Daddy said he would have went with the pear cinnamon. That's what the one.
That's kind of what I was thinking too.
Yeah. I think the craft beer depends on. Actually, there's a 3 statement definition that the Brew Association uses for it. One of it is barrels. The other one is ownership. And then the other part is percentage. I can't remember offhand right now, but it's a percentage type thing as well. So, yeah. But with the Bells, if it's owned by the company they're owned by now, and that's part of a macro, technically they're not craft beer anymore. So
like a Wicked Weed that's owned by
they're not considered craft.
They're not considered craft anymore.
Right. Yeah. I mean, technically Avery's not considered craft anymore either. Founders isn't really considered craft anymore because Founders is owned by the same company that owns Avery. I think New Belgium might have been under somebody too. So that's where it's starting to get blurred and stuff. You have so many companies that are now under these subsidiaries. It's kind of like, how do you turn it away? But see, for the Brew Association, when they do stuff, they have festivals. You have to be a craft brewery to be invited to stuff.
So I don't necessarily agree with that part of it because it's like just because you're owned by a major company, if they leave you alone, like supposedly Wicked Weed, yeah, they might have the backing of a little more money to do things or whatever, experimental beers or whatever. Like I don't know why, as long as they're not, mass manufactured like a Budweiser or a Miller Lite or whatever. Like why is that just because they're owned by them? What I mean? Does that make sense? Like, why is that not still considered craft?
Like you're penalizing them when they're a success.
Yeah,
that's the other thing. Yeah, so for the craft brewery definition, you have to be under 6 million barrels of beer a year that you're actually doing. You have to be independent. Less than 25% of the craft breweries owned or controlled by a beverage alcohol industry member that itself is not considered craft beer. And what was the other thing? There was a third thing I'm trying to look on here. But on that second part, like with Bell's, they're under someone that does not meet that definition. They may have changed the definition again because I only see the two things actually here. Small independent. Yeah, the other thing is the brewer has a TTB brewer's notice and makes beer. Whatever that's supposed to be. So they may have switched it up again here recently because there used to be three things that were part of it. I only see really those two now dealing with that. So again, this is set by that association. So take that with a grain of salt.
I think it's just such a fine line. I think for like if it's not coming straight off of a line that's manufactured like a macro is, just hundreds and thousands upon thousands of beers a day. Like most craft breweries, even probably like a Stone or Sierra Nevada, they probably aren't putting out that kind of output. You know what I mean?
Stone puts under the number of barrels, right? But they were under somebody, I think, now too, though. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't necessarily think that should automatically disqualify them as being a craft beer.
Yeah. Well, even Gilbert mentioned having a Kona, and Kona isn't considered craft beer because of who they're under. So, again, this is the association pushing out their guidelines.
Kona are now also?
Kona's under, I don't think it's AB and Bev. I think it's somebody else that they're under. But they're considered, So, like, if you pull it up on Untapped, it'll say Macro Brewery next to it.
They're in California, right?
Hawaii. Well, Hawaii.
Oh,
they're based out of Hawaii, but I think they moved a brewery. They might have a brewery in the mainland now, but Hawaii is what they're initially out of.
Might not. Maybe I was thinking somebody, but Kona, Kona is one of them for sure. But who's the other one I'm thinking of? I was thinking California for some reason.
What beers?
I can't think of any names of the beers now.
They probably were stale at the time when they destroyed them and stuff. The beers on the border because they were probably like macro beers and stuff, but they let them sit around, right? So they could have been drinking them the whole time. Like what did you do? Stockpile these adjunct lagers? Yeah, you wouldn't want to have them at that point. Cracked open a Schofferhofer watermelon mint Heffy. Nice. Oh, that does sound good. Schofferhofer does some pretty good stuff. I actually like their Rattler. So
watermelon mint. That's interesting.
Does feel like a summer tonight. Yeah, you guys are there in that heat there in Chicago. Big Daddy's passing on the Haggis. The Chicago guys are not going for the Haggis.
No, never mind.
What if they put it on a hot dog? They make the Chicago style hot dog and just put a little bit of haggis on there.
Yeah.
There you go. Make it like bacon or something. It's National Rock Fear Month. Isn't that every month for you though, JT? I know it's for me. Anytime I see a good one, I grab it. The good ones survive and thrive. The not so good ones just don't. So sometimes those not so good ones get bought, and then they go out.
Right.
Yeah. Everyone got a price, Yeah. I mean, there's some that don't want to do it, but I think at some point, you get to a level, you might say, okay, it's time to go ahead and sell out the business or whatever, or bring someone else. And I know like the New Belgium, when they did it, they were kind of fighting that because New Belgium was an employee-owned company before they went under their new deal. But all the remaining employees that were there got a really nice package for the deal to make it go into the other company too. So they were rewarded for selling under to the new company. I mean, I think if I had a brewery and it was a success, I mean, after a point, I probably would. Somebody put enough zeros out there that was interested enough and just like.
I mean, isn't that sort of the point of opening your own business is to make the money? So if somebody's willing to pay for it, like.
Well, some want to do it just to kind of be that social aspect type thing too, like some craft.
Yeah. But I mean, in the ultimate goal in the end is to somewhat make some money out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Just because it's selling doesn't mean they can't start up another brewery and just do the same thing, Unless they sign something that says they can't do that. Yeah.
As we pull in our ceremoniously Joe Dirt line, right now, we don't work for UNICEF, right? So maybe one day, but right now you owe us this amount for this car. I haven't watched Joe Dirt in a long time. I have to
I ain't seen that enough.
bring it back up there. I thought you had a Hemi. I do, but it's getting a foot pedal installed. That's probably David Spade's best movie ever that he's ever done. Because a lot of his movies aren't that great, but that was probably one of the funniest ones.
Well, that one, and I don't know if you can say David Spade so much, but Tommy Boy.
Well, Tom and Tommy Boy together.
Yeah.
I'm just saying with him being the main focus.
Yeah.
Him and Tommy Boy was a classic, and
Yeah.
people say, well, you got Black Sheep, but Black Sheep was like Tommy Boy, except was in politics. It wasn't that much of a difference between those two working together. So
yeah, not a whole lot.
Yeah, we all got the whole fat guy in a little coat just etched in our mind. There'll never be anything to replace that, right? So nobody can pull that off better than Chris Farley. Dorica Richard, what did you do?
There's some really good ones in that one.
Yeah, there's a lot of good lines in that one. What do you think is probably the most quotable movie you think you've ever seen?
Most quotable?
Santa's around, but she doesn't want to come on camera.
The one about Jesus Christ.
The one about Jesus Christ, Passion of the Christ?
Just say super.
I said Passion of the Christ. You said the one about Jesus.
Passion of the Christ.
No, but there's a really good one on Netflix, and it's got Rose Byrne and Steve Carell in it, and it's like a political show, but it's really good.
I feel like I've seen that.
You have seen it.
No, but I wouldn't.
It was very political.
It wasn't something about Jesus, though.
No,
was
I'm
it?
talking about two different movies.
Oh, so yeah, he's confused me there.
But if you can't remember, it can either be the most quotable, because that's really the most quotable you remember.
It's a good political movie, though. It's like I can't tell you because I'll give it away, but it's really good.
It's like Primary Colors, but funny.
No, it's more lighthearted than that.
The most quotable movie?
Like Big Daddy said, Pulp Fiction. Like Pulp Fiction got a lot of great quotes in there.
Yeah.
Bring out the Gimp. Royale with cheese. $5 milkshake. I mean, it got a lot of good stuff in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, that is a good one.
All right, one more.
Oh, you sending a wolf?
Roe versus Wade.
Yes.
Name one quote from.
As a movie?
Oh.
That's what he was talking about. Was
the most quotable movie.
Oh, sorry.
What do you think he was saying?
The most political movie.
No, I wasn't talking about politics. She thought you said most political movie.
You're like, what the fuck is she
That's what I was like. What do you mean? Most quoted movie. I was like, name one quote. She's like, I don't know. I was like, okay.
Roe versus Wade. Who's quoting that?
Shannon being Shannon.
5 or 6 after building a business. Yeah, so that can definitely happen.
I'm trying to think.
Gilbert said, "Kiss Shannon some in Mad Dog 2020s. She'll get on cam." Did you show her the picture of the Mad Dog 2020 cans I sent you?
Yes.
You have to show, yeah.
No thanks. No thanks. I'm out.
Farley died before he was supposed to be featured in a film about Fatty Arbuckle. It haunts me, and in my mind, it would have been genius. Yeah. For me, the most quotable movie, I've got a few. Obviously, Tombstone is up there.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Josie Wells is up there. I can go with Big Daddy, Pulp Fiction, Casino, Goodfellas, Scarface, Old School, Wedding Crashers.
Yeah. I feel like the list is go on and on.
Yeah, I mean, there's just some that kind of just can carry on. Like you said, Tommy Boy, that's another one. Joe Dirt, I can do
Forrest
Joe Dirt
Gump,
all
I think
time.
would be one.
Forrest Gump's another one. Jaws, the stuff from Jaws there. Yeah, there's a good amount of them that are out there. Full Metal Jacket. Full Metal Jacket's another one's got some good quotes in it.
The original Rocky would be.
Yeah. Although I would do Rocky 3. Rocky 3 is more quotable for me. I like some of the lines from Mr. T. I think were pretty good.
Yeah.
With Rocky 3, yeah. But Rocky 4 too with Drago, I will break him. Those are kind of the ones that jump out to me right now, as far as ones that are pretty good. Lethal Weapon had some pretty ones back in the day, but I haven't watched Lethal Weapon in a long time. But Goodfellas, yeah, Gilbert has said there too.
Yeah.
Oh, I want my money, Henry. Mario, get your money. Go get your shine box. Yeah. Yeah, Goodfellas is just all there. Like, it's funny, when we flew to Florida, we flew Delta. So Delta had the different videos on there, like the different TVs on the back of your seats or on the wall, like we're in the front. And you could watch any movie you wanted to. You put the headphones and all kind of stuff. Like Goodfellas was one of the movies on there. And so Janice loves Goodfellas. So I started the movie up with her and I was like laughing. I was like, I hit her on the shoulder, like, look, and she's like, they got Goodfellas? And then she started watching. Like,
She's like, "Ah, yeah."
ooh, and it was like the part, Harry, ever since I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster. And that just like sets off the whole movie. So, yeah.
So I started watching Tulsa King last night. That's on Paramount Plus.
I haven't started watching it yet. I got it recorded. I need to.
It's so good. It's so good. And when you said that, it made me think of that because not giving away too much. Like Sylvester Stallone, you know,
right? He gets relocated there. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was in prison. So he was in prison for like 25 years. So time's passing by. He doesn't really know what like a cell phone is and different things. So when he gets shipped out to Tulsa, there's a cab driver that picked him up, and it was like a 25-year-old black guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he kept calling him. So when he was driving around, he kept saying, "Oh, that's gangster. That's gangster." And Sylvester Stallone was getting pissed at him because he was like, he was in the mafia or whatever. So he was thinking, "Don't you ever say that again. Don't you say gangster." He didn't realize that he was just kind of, and he was like, "Whoa, whoa," and the driver's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm not making fun." It's like, it's just a saying. Like calling you gangster is like that, you know.
Because he's still learning this. He's learning it since, yeah.
But anyway, then he goes on to hire him as his main driver because he got shipped out there. There's some funny parts. It's pretty good. I'm like halfway through it now.
Yeah.
But
I got to watch that still.
Definitely watch it for sure.
Yeah. Me So Horny. That was Full Metal Jacket there. Yeah. UGI.
Oh, Full Metal. Yeah. That's a good one there too.
Anything you want. Yeah. Need a bigger boat, Jaws. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because we'll watch some stuff like she'll get mad when we watch like Josie. If I'm watching Josie Wilson like that and everything, and I'll just be sitting there saying the lines or he's saying them, and she's like, if you're gonna do the lines, why are you even watching it anymore?
Right.
I'm like, because that's the fun of it. It's like Rocky Horror. You know, you talk in front of it, and you just know everything with it. So Buzzard's got to eat too. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, do you know what the Mandela effect is? If so, how has it affected your life and history? Mine, the four logos extremely strange to me. I do not recognize it having been that way. I'm trying to think of the Mandela effect because I'm thinking of my mind thinks of the butterfly effect.
Right.
When the butterfly flaps its wings and how it does the whole transformation.
Let's see, Mandela effects.
Situation where it's a large mass of people believe that an event occurred when it did. Yes. So the Mandela effect is like, what movie was it? Oh shoot, there was a movie that people think an actor did a role in, but he actually never did. But I can't remember which one it is now.
I know it's just I know what you're talking about.
And they're like, when someone, it was just Sinbad. No, yeah, it was. I think it was Sinbad as a genie, but he never had a genie role. But everybody thinks he did this genie role one time. Let me take a look here.
Or where you think there was something that happened.
Yeah, false memory. It appears that Sinbad genie phenomenon is another instance of the Mandela effect, and a formal term for a collective false memory. The term was coined by a woman who discovered that she and hundreds of other people believed and remembered that Nelson Rulana Mandela had died in prison in the 80s. That's where it came from. But there was a movie where people thought Sinbad played a genie, but it never happened. But people swear that he was actually a genie in the movie. And so, let me pull it up here.
I've seen those, like, as far as what Emerson was saying, like the logo or whatever. I've seen those, like, logos of, like, which is the correct and which is what you thought it might have been. And
right.
And, like, most
so
of the
here's
time, you pick the wrong one because that's what you thought it was.
like this right here, like, and it was like this thing that never actually happened, I guess, but people thought they swore they saw the movie or whatever. But this was like one of the biggest Mandela effect falsehoods out there. Like Sinbad never did this movie or something where he was this genie. It was something else. It's weird.
It is weird how that happened though. Like,
yeah,
so many people just follow. Oh yeah, I remember that. And it's like, no, it never did happen. But okay.
Yeah, but I think that was probably one of the biggest things I actually remember.
I do remember that, and actually say that
as like a false thing. I can't think of anything else that really I could think of that affected me or.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, yeah.
Anything like that's ever really affected my life or history of anything.
Aubrey's in the house. Cheers, Aubrey. Great to see you, my friend. Happy Thursday to you. Yeah, I've got to go now. Hey, you too. Tell Liz have a great weekend as well. Great having you on, my friend.
Liz, have a good one.
What you got here is a fine specimen of Alabama. See, now we're into the full metal jacket lines. I was like, what is that? What the fuck is that? What is that? It's a jelly donut. A jelly donut. You eat it. What did he say? He's like, you eat it. Something you've earned or didn't earn, whatever he makes the guys do the push-ups and makes him eat the donut and he's standing there. Yeah, that leads to a bad beat down in the middle of the night, but then that breaks him, man. Private pile. You eat it, they're earning it. That's what the line is. Luke and your father are having Empire Strikes Back. What do you mean it never happened? Luke, I'm your father? That was in the movie, right?
I thought it was too.
At the end. I'm pretty sure that was there.
Because he did it in Tommy Boy. When he's in the fans, like, Luke, I am your father.
That could be the Mandela effect.
Maybe.
Luke, I am your father. Yeah, that's part of the movie. Yeah, it's on here.
We'll bring it up and ask and say, was Luke, I am your father ever in Empire Strikes Back?
Oh, it says...
No.
You must have heard the famous phrase attributed to Darth Vader in Episode 5 of Star Wars Saga, which was at number 2 because it was 6. Don't get into the whole number thing. It was Empire Strikes Back, revealing to Luke Skywalker that he was his father. Luke, I'm your father. However, the fact is the phrase was never said in this way. Oh,
there you
Emerson shocked us there.
Nice. There you go.
Oh, let me see here. And it says in a quick search, you can find the original scene of the film in which it's possible to observe that the phrase spoke is, in fact, no, I am your father. Really?
There you go. See, everybody says, Luke, I am your father.
Mandela effect there.
Now, in fact, like I said, it was even in Tommy Boy because he said that.
Yeah. And the other thing is, like, you think back to if you were a kid, you ever saw the movie Snow White? People think the queen, when she addresses the mirror, says mirror, mirror. Fact is, she says magic mirror on the wall when she starts. She doesn't say mirror, mirror on the wall.
Yeah, I could see where that would be confused a little bit. But, yeah, so it's one of those things where you don't know.
Well, everybody thinks she said mirror, mirror, but in fact, she's saying magic mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Emerson said there are thousands of them. Yeah, Kazam by Shaq, I confused Sinbad. That's what it was. Yeah. Kazam was Shaq, which I think Shaq probably wishes people didn't remember him playing that role, but and he's probably okay with people thinking it was Sinbad because that was a terrible movie.
Yeah.
Silver leg. Silver leg. What is it?
Shannon wrote you a note here. Instead of reading it, I'll just put it up here.
She wrote a note. Let me pull it up here.
To you.
Yeah, please participate in the next Thursday show. I promise I'll be good, girl, and try to find something beer related to talk about. Why does she have to ask me? Of course she can come on with a little heart.
I feel like like I just not been very very valuable part of this team lately. So
People love having you on.
okay,
They always ask me about you all the time.
okay.
Yeah.
I tell her that all the time. She's like, well, I don't have nothing to say about beer. She always feels like she derails.
Tell her she missed the Bud Light conversation. She would have had a lot of stuff to say.
I
earlier,
know.
I'm
I
sure.
was in the tub. I was really bummed out about that. Want to get me
I tried to fill in for you a little bit
Yeah.
on that, but
you see me out. If they have Bud Light, I'm drinking Bud Light.
that's what I told him. I said you were like, fill the fridge with Bud Light now instead of Miller Lite.
Yep.
Just because.
I don't want nobody thinking that I'm not on par with them. You
House
can
guests.
drink beers to make me know you're a redneck, and I can drink beers to tell you I'm woke. Yeah, I'm woke.
Yeah.
House Guest was Sinbad, great movie. I don't know if I saw House Guest, but I tell you one that was a good movie with Sinbad was the one with him and Arnold Schwarzenegger for the Christmas movie they did. Jingle All the Way, I think. That was a pretty good one with Sinbad and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one.
Yeah. But what I was going to say, when I was younger, talking about quotable movies, one of the movies that was always good to quote, this was like back in the, coming out of the 80s and the 90s, was like, because we talking about prison, we talking about 48 Hours. Like, we used to always quote like 48 Hours and
Oh, yeah.
singing to Roxanne and stuff like that and everything.
8 hours.
Oh, all the Eddie Murphy lines when he's in the club and stuff. Yeah. New sheriff in town, all that stuff. Yeah. Oh man,
It makes me want to go back and watch that now.
oh, it's still funny. I don't know. It might be like I don't know if people be offended by it now or not. I'm trying to think back on the movie itself. I don't think there was anything really. I don't know.
I don't think
Nothing
so.
to be.
I remember it being, well, I mean, that was back then too, so I don't know. Maybe it is. Who knows?
Yeah.
Kind of ready to go back and watch it just to see.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's still pretty good though. I enjoy it. So that's like people go back and they try to dissect stuff that was done at a different time, and it's like, yeah, there's stuff that's, there's some stuff that was done that was definitely not great stuff. If you're going back and looking at things like, Birth of a Nation or something like that, that was just like, having that like shown in the White House like that was just not a good call.
Right,
but
right.
You can't go back and like break up like Blazing Saddles. Blazing Saddles is the funny thing about Blazing Saddles was making fun of how the ignorance was in America, right? It was picking apart stuff or like history of the world. It was just
That's a good one too.
making fun of stuff. Yeah, that's very quotable. Blazing Saddles, yeah.
No, did we say Happy Gilmore? That had some good lines in it also.
Yeah, Happy Gilmore would be another one. Yeah. That would be definitely another one there. Adam Sandler's got some pretty funny movies. I need to watch his Uncut Gems, so I never watched it. I always heard that was pretty good.
I haven't watched it either. I've got it on the list. I want to see that. I've heard it was good also.
Yeah, and then the last one
Long.
just
I
did.
think it's 2.5 hours long or something.
Yeah. And they just came out with the it's at the theaters now. I don't know if they're going to put on HBO Max or something like that in here next month or something, but I do want to see Air, the Michael Jordan story.
Oh, yeah.
I do want to see that. Great to see Chris Tucker back out there doing it again, too. So,
Trying to think. Yeah, I mean, it probably will be like, 45 days, whatever the deal is.
yeah.
There's 45 days, and they usually put it on.
Trying to make Big Trouble in Little China is a nightmare idea to do it. Well, Hollywood will do it if they can get money out of it. But I feel like there's no need to remake Big Trouble in Little China. I think some movies you just don't need to touch. You don't need to come back out and do stuff on. I think they were just as good as they actually were meant to be. And just, would you remake a Plane, Trains, and Automobiles now? There'd be no need to remake that. It was great with Steve Martin and John Candy. Why would somebody want to remake it? But give them time, and I'll probably try to remake a new one for that movie as well. Yeah, Phil Hartman was hilarious too. So another one of those people that you gone too soon and the situation there. But he's always been excellent. He was excellent on TV and in the movie roles that he actually played. He was probably one of my favorite people on Saturday Night Live when you look at the roster of people that had come through there, Eddie Murphy, Phil Hartman, Chris Farley, are probably like some of my favorite ones that actually were parts of that ensemble. If you go back, Gilda Radner, she was one of my favorites on there. John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd. So, but Phil Hartman was hilarious to actually watch growing up. Absolutely got to see Air. Yeah, I want to. It's on, like I said, it's on the list to go check out. And I don't know if people get burnt out on Ben Affleck or Matt Damon and something like that, but I feel like they make some pretty good movies and stuff when they put stuff out. So they actually have a pretty good eye for things, and I feel like I'm always entertained when I'm watching the stuff they're doing. But having them in there with Chris Tucker and some of the other casts, I think it'll be pretty solid. I still got to see John Wick 4, though. I want to see John Wick 4, but I kind of want to wait to see if they do a director's cut. So John Wick 4, I think it was 3 hours that got released. The original cut they did was 3 hours and 45 minutes, which is long for a movie. But I feel like for John Wick 4, I'd be in it for the 345 just to watch it all the way through because I think that's one of my favorite series over the last decade or so to watch. As far as movie series go, the John Wick series have been phenomenal.
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, I agree with that one. That's a good one.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that last one was that long.
Well, the last one's 3, but last one is 3 hours. But the original cut when they did it was 345. So I'm trying to see if they want to release a director's cut before I see it because I like to see the full version. It's kind of like they did the Justice League, and then they came out later with the Zack Snyder cut, which was a lot better. I kind of want to see if there's going to be a better John Wick cut.
Yeah, because it was, 4.5 hours or something like that, the Justice League?
When it got the Zack Snyder one?
Yeah.
It actually ran less than that. It was about, I want to say it's just over 3, I think, or something.
Oh, was it really? I was thinking it was over for like 4 hours or something.
I think it was shorter than what people were expecting there.
Okay. Yeah, for some reason. Maybe that was one of those effects also. It was like, oh, maybe I thought it was over 4 hours.
Yeah. But you know what? A good movie, you don't even realize time sometimes. It was really good.
Right. That's true.
I remember with Quentin Tarantino, when they came out with Grindhouse, and it was the Invaders from Space, and then there was the Kurt Russell one, the Death Proof. We saw it at the theater, and it was together, so it was 4 hours. But now they separate in 2 different films. But when we saw it at the theater, you were so enthralled in it, even you had like a little intermission in between, that you were good to go, watching them both. It was just that good of directing and writing and stuff done.
I don't know that I've ever actually seen all the way through both of those.
Yeah, the Death Proof is actually pretty good. Both of them are decent, but Death Proof I liked more because it was more the car racing and the stunts they were doing, and the fact that they weren't actually using CGI. They were actually using true stunt people like the old 70 type action flicks and everything like that. It was pretty cool how they were doing stuff on it.
I remember when they came out, that was highly acclaimed. Got a lot of praise for it.
Yeah. I heard they're actually going to be making a Heat 2. I'm not sure how they're going to be kind of doing that, what they're going to be doing with that one, because if it's going to be something like a second generation, or if it's something where Pacino's dealing with something, because I'm thinking in the original Heat, obviously a couple of the characters don't make it, and so I don't know how they're going to be setting that all up. So,
and then,
but Heat was a good movie when it came out.
Oh, he was really good.
Yeah. But yeah.
Was it Ray Liotta? Not in Heat, but the.
No, Heat was Pacino, De Niro, Val Kilmer.
No, what was one before that one you was talking about?
For
Heat. you mentioned one. I forgot what it was we were talking about now.
Shit, I can't remember now.
But it was in that one.
I can't remember right now.
I mean,
my mind is moving forward to the next thing already.
Yeah.
Uncut Gems is great. Emerson said, I love the Sandman because he took care of all his pieces. That's now for 30 years. Last week, that Sandler Mark Twain Award. Some awesome clips. Yeah, I saw part of the Mark Twain Award ceremony, and that was pretty cool seeing that as well, him getting honored. And that is cool. Like, one thing with Adam Sandler, he does work in a lot of this friends or fellow actors or comedians, a lot of stuff he does. And, you know, those people are definitely able to, he brings them along, which is great. It's kind of like the LeBron James of acting. You know, LeBron James has his friends that work with him and stuff that he brought to the NBA with him. And Adam Sandler does it with stuff for guys that might not have had that opportunity without him. He gets them in the spotlight on different things. And
I was going to say, a lot of those
good
guys,
stuff.
If they weren't his friends, you would never seen him in anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely say Wichita probably got a little bit longer of a run on things because of that. Rob, was it Deuce Bigelow guy?
Oh, Rob Schneider.
Yeah, like being one of Adam Sandler's buddies and getting those little stuff kept his career going for sure. Because the other people that are doing it kind of more like bit type players, you know. But
I also feel like what's that one dude that was in Waterboy, the one like the cross-eyed guy.
Yeah, he gets some of the stuff too.
He's
Yeah,
in all the Adam Sandler movies all the time. I'm like, that dude probably would have never.
Well, him and a dude that was a quarterback was in the movies as well. So
yeah.
Was Big Daddy? Big Daddy was another quotable movie when he did that one at the time.
Yeah.
But I guess when I think of the quotable movies, it's the ones that are long-lasting ones. You got Dirty Harry. You know, you can't forget Clint Eastwood Dirty Harry movies. Like, that's always a classic. But the ones that stood the test of time, that's really what makes them kind of stand out. And then they get into like the American lexicon of phrases and stuff. You know, it goes out of the movie enough that it becomes a phrase. You know, it's kind of like when Valley Girl came out and phrases came out of the Valley Girl movie became, you know, American, just regular dialect. Right. Yeah.
Gag me with a spoon.
Yeah. It's like people were putting like in front of things all the time. You know, it was just like.
That's going to resurface again because I noticed like our daughter and some of her friends for the last few years, everything's like. I'm like,
yeah.
Really? Bringing something back up from the 80s.
Animal House was classic. Animal House had some definitely there as well. Because every time I say Animal House, one of the first things that always pops in my head is when they show up and Otis is singing. And as everybody gets in the whole way, wait a minute. That pops in your head there. That and then like the I always remember it wasn't a line, but the John Belushi on the ladder when he's like peeking into the window and he's like just like going across the ground. Animal House is a fun Foo Fight, you know. Toga, like people chanted Toga. I mean, college people were chanting Toga when we were there. Yeah. The guitar scene alone, again, not a line, but just a guitar scene with the guy singing on the steps. He just breaks the guitar. Classic.
Yeah, there's a lot of classics in that one for sure.
Yeah. the whole World War II. When the Nazis bombed Pearl Harbor. Pearl Harbor. Oh, that's some good stuff for sure. Yeah, that's some old good classic movies. Just sit back and watch some of them and laugh some more.
You brought up some motives like, I need to go back and watch some of those.
Yeah. And then you're not even talking about like the numerous Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, right? So you had like Predator, you had Running Man, you had
or even like Terminator.
what was the one? He was the Marine as well. He was a Marine in a lot of them, I know. But the one,
it was that Commando.
Commando, yeah, he Commando stuff, yeah. Kindergarten Cop. I mean, shut up. Yeah.
Kindergarten Cop. That was a good one.
Yeah. So I mean,
boys have penises, girls have vaginas.
Got a better lesson than Shannon did, right? It wasn't Ben Snyder's and Tallywhackers. So,
yeah, right. Yeah.
Funniest kid lines. That's another thing, right? So it's like, what did he say in Big Daddy? He was like, "But I wipe my own ass." Like that's one of the funniest kid lines.
What was it, Aqua Steve or whatever?
The Aqua Steve. Oh, Aqua Steve get a kiss? Yeah. Oh man.
That's funny.
Must see a stupid and futile gesture based on Doug Kenny, who brought us most of the comedy in the 70s and 80s, had it alive, and a genius that went overlooked. Must see TV. Oh, interesting. See, I always hear like whatchamacallit gets the credit with Saturday Night Live a lot of times. Michael, I forgot the name, guy's last name that does Saturday Night Live now, but stupid and futile gesture. Okay.
Oh, you're thinking of who was the
Michael Lauren.
Yeah, Lauren.
Yeah, it seemed like I thought he was the one that gets a lot of the credit there. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, I know he's like the head of it, but was he the main guy at the start of it? I don't know. That's a good.
Well, he's like the head of it now still, I think.
Yeah.
So
I think he has been for most of the time, but maybe wasn't the original. I'm not really sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's been like one of the longest running shows in history now, right? Like,
if not the
at least here in the States. I mean, I think the longest running show in history is like Doctor Who, which is like 50 years or something. But
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, that goes back into the 60s. It might be 60 years now. When they had the first Doctor Who type thing.
Dang.
My wife still watches that once in a while, but I used to watch it when I was younger and stuff, and then I kind of went to different stuff. But I mean, they do make some intriguing shows with it.
Is it still on like new shows now?
Yeah, it still does the new shows and stuff like that. I think here in the States we get it. There's usually like a Christmas special, and then it starts up the next season or something. So, but we get it delayed from when time they showed in the UK. It's like 6 months later or something they showed over here. Except for Christmas specials, usually
I've never watched it before.
Yeah. Every Christmas was stolen from that. Yeah, National Lampoon tied into it for sure. Oh, like then you got the quotable movies like Vacation, right? That's National Lampoon's Vacation. Ultimately, movies,
yeah.
Christmas Vacation, Vegas Vacation,
yeah.
Van Wilder, all the National Lampoon type things. Yeah. Would there be a new return? You know, E.T. would be something. I would be surprised if they did like a remake to it for a new generation of that. I don't know if you would need to. I mean, I feel like now with E.T. they kind of watered it down already because like when I saw it as a kid, I saw it at the theater, and like when the police were chasing and stuff like that, like they pull their guns out. I guess on the new version they don't pull their guns out or something like that. They don't show them the gun. It's like a whole bunch of. It kind of like made it just like yeah. So even E.T. they've adjusted. It's like why? It was like a PG movie from back then. So yeah.
I didn't realize they did that.
Yeah. I remember like a newer version you're talking about how that was all done there. But that was a classic. I mean, Close Encounters of the Third Kind could be another one they could redo, I guess, with the technology they have now. But then again, like, do you want to do a redo of it because it was such a good
I feel like
classic movie? Jaws is one.
You're right. I feel like some of those, like, you could probably make them better, but are they really better? Like, the originals still hold up today, It's like,
yeah,
you may have more of the technological things for them, or the green screens and everything like they didn't have back then. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe, but kind of takes away from the nostalgia of the movie.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, there's some things like, like you wouldn't need to do like a new Smokey and the Bandit. I mean, I feel like that old one did it justice. Of course, like there's some people I've heard like thought that was like kind of not as great now, like as far as like some of the joke stuff they did in it, but it's like that was the time
You're
of
right.
the event and stuff like that. Yeah. So you can't replace Jackie Gleason. I mean, he was the perfect one in that role there, him and Burt Reynolds. So yeah. Sometimes we make too many remakes.
Yeah, that'd be a shame to remake some of those classics. Like, why? Like, it's an injustice to remake them.
Yeah. I know one old movie I wouldn't mind. I need to go back and watch again because I haven't seen it in years. When I was a kid, it was one of my favorite movies. It was Convoy. And that was with the truckers. I don't know if you ever saw that or not, but Chris Christopherson and it was and it's just
I love that one. I remember that one as a kid.
Rubber Ducky, him and Ally McGraw, whatever. Yeah, that was one of my favorite movies as a kid. Bill Murray said it best, it dilutes the original picture. Yeah, it's kind of like, you're going back doing the remakes and stuff and you're trying to change it for new times. Just make a new movie, come up with a new idea, do something different.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Quit rehashing or redoing.
Or instead of doing a remake, do a twist off the old movie type thing. You can do like some of these movies that have done like a generation down the line where now it's the son or Grant, like the Ghostbusters thing. I didn't see the new Ghostbusters movie, but they did it where I guess the guy was like the grandchild or son of the old Ghostbusters, right? So it wasn't like you were retelling it as them being the Ghostbusters, but it was like a new generation that was able to kind of do it that way.
Or kind of like the Christmas Story.
Yeah, kind of like Christmas Story. Yeah. Just
generation, it was the kid there, and now he's the main. It was kind of, to me, it was kind of the same story, but it was different, Yeah. But yeah, they should do more things like that than rehashing.
Now, I will say, Emerson, I don't know if they would feel comfortable doing a remake of Cannonball Run. I'm pretty sure there'll be some offensive stuff in there that might bother some people, but the original was hilarious. So yeah. But they could do a new Cannonball type run. Like someone could actually, discover how they had the old Cannonball Run race and take some of the celebrities of today to form a new Cannonball Run movie. And that way you're not doing a remake, you're doing an extension off of it. And then you can have whoever might be alive, maybe making some cameo type appearances. I think that would be a good idea. I don't even know if people are still alive from the old Cannonball Run.
Probably not.
Maybe not. Well, I remember Burt Reynolds gone, Dom DeLuise gone, Sammy Davis gone, Dean Martin gone. So there's probably younger people on there that might be around. I think Lonnie Anderson, is she still alive? I don't know if she's still alive or not.
I think so.
I think she was in it.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Now that you said that, I'm not really sure.
Yeah, the Gumball Rally still exists today. Yeah. Yeah, they should just make an extension off of it.
Let's see.
Poltergeist was another quotable movie. Carol Ann, go into the light.
Oh, yeah, so you had Roger Moore.
Gone.
Farrah Fawcett.
Gone. I think she's gone. Maybe. Question mark.
No, I'm not sure of that one either. Yeah, Dom DeLuise, like I said.
Gone.
Sure. Martin, Sammy Davis. Terry Bradshaw was in it, and he's still
around. Yeah, he got Terry. He won't know where he's at, but he's still around.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess you could do something along those lines, but that would be kind of a fun thing to actually put out there, maybe. Yeah. Let's see
Sorry, I'm talking to
here.
my daughter.
Oh no, you're fine. I think we're like at 11:21. Probably get ready to wrap it up here as well. And
Oh, I didn't realize Jackie Chan was in Cannonball.
oh yeah, he wasn't. He was still viable to do something. He could actually be the one to pass it on to others. Actually, that would be a bad plot. Have Jackie Chan as one telling a story about the Cannonball Run to like his family, and then his kids or grandkids come up with the idea to redo the Cannonball Run, and they get like a lot of the newer actors team up in the movie. So,
Yeah.
That's why Hollywood should call me on these ideas.
Peter Fonda, he's gone. I think Burt Convey's dead, I believe.
Yeah.
A lot of Mel Tellis, he's gone. Everybody in that movie except for Jackie Chan.
Because he was young enough, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot because he had like his car was like this technology type wonder that he had. So, yeah, Jackie Chan, another good fun actor.
Yeah, when was that? Oh, that was let's see, when was that movie? It was 19. Let's see. 1981.
Yeah, I thought it was earlier than that even.
I did too.
All right, Big Daddy. Cheers, homie. Have a great night, my friend. We'll be signing off as well. About to order up the Sandman here.
Yeah.
1981. Okay. Yeah, they could make some fun movies out there.
70s.
Yeah. All right, Aubrey, appreciate you, my friend. Thanks. Thank you, sir. Yeah, we're going to sign off here too, and got to get up and go to work in the morning. Damn that job. I didn't hit the Powerball yet, so got to go back in and clock in the morning.
Mega Millions is tomorrow, so there's still a chance.
Is it a big one for Mega Millions right now?
Like 400 and something million, I think.
Oh, I don't get into it to $1 billion, son.
yeah, that's the point.
No, I didn't know it was that high, actually. I don't know. I might stop by 7-Eleven and grab a ticket tomorrow. I wouldn't be mad if I won 400 million, which I would get probably
just don't
150 or something with the cash option, you know.
Don't forget all us little people if you do.
Yeah. Be like, put it in a little account, get 3% a year off of it, and be like, I'm out, son. Like
You're right.
I'm out. They'd be like, maybe did Rod call in? Nope, he just didn't show up.
He's never showing up again.
Oh, like Harlem Nights. Yeah, I'm not coming home. Yeah. So, yeah. Oh, all right, y'all. Well, we're gonna go ahead and get signed off here. Thanks for everybody that tuned in. As always, great to have you on board, and hopefully have a little fun. Talk a little beer tonight. Give you guys a little bit of laughs as you head into Friday and for the weekend. Hopefully, you got some good stuff planned. And we will definitely look forward to catching up with you guys here next week. That being said, we are out, and see you then.